All right, welcome into the rant. I am Pugs Iran. We are here on Radio Misfits. Radio Misfits is our home in the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios on the beautiful south side of Chicago. We do this every day. I'm having a problem. I'm not going to be able to continue until I can fix. There we go. Maddie. I see Maddie. I'm over on the... All right, welcome into the rant. I am Pugs Iran. We are here on Radio Misfits. Radio Misfits is our home in the Kelly Moore Memorial Studios on the beautiful side. All right. I don't understand. We've been having some issues, or I should say more to the point, I have been having some issues. I got hacked. My Facebook page got hacked. Pugs Moran on Facebook. If it's not my face, then ignore it, okay? It's somebody else. If I would never try to sell you my dead uncle's watches, okay? That's not me. You should know that that's not me. The only thing that I ask is that you tip the show. I don't try to sell stuff. I never have. So my Facebook page got hacked. And because of this, and it's so upsetting, because over the course of the last couple of weeks, we had seen real uptick in the numbers on this show. Every show had gotten much larger numbers than we had gotten, just a few months back when we were in Dallas. The numbers were bigger. The numbers are gone again. Ever since Facebook got hacked, all of a sudden, I am seeing a downsizing, and it's upsetting me. And today I but I come in here and I start to do the show, and I got the chat room up, and usually every single day, and I'm not just talking like, this was before the hacking. No, yesterday, like the hacking occurred yesterday. When I was preparing to go live, I could see everybody in the chat room. Today, no. Today, I couldn't see anybody. So I go over to YouTube, and there they are. They're over on the YouTube side, but not on my side. But that's okay, because it seems to be fine, because now people are here. I can now see people. I just like to thank the people in the chat room, and I need to be able to see them. And I get upset when something is different about this Restream platform that we use to do this show every day. All right, we seem to be all right. The first person that I see here that I give credit to is Maddie, but I can't give credit to Maddie because Maddie is a part of the show. I see Barney. I'll give Barney credit, and that's good. Thank you, Barney. Barney's awesome. But I went over on YouTube like 10 minutes ago. I'm over on YouTube, and I see people talking. I see Mikey D. He's out at the Star. I see Peter talking about Dave Matthews. But then I come over here, none of that. None of that. And my point is this. That was never the case before. As early as yesterday, I was able to monitor the chat as it was going on before I hit live. But now I can't, and it's irritating because it's different. And if there's one thing we've learned from this show, none of us do well with change. None of us. If it's different, it makes us have to think, and we don't like to have to think about things that we take for granted because we do them all the time. It's almost reflexive. But then when we got to think about something that used to be reflexive, now we fucking panic because we're like, oh, wait, this is different. And now fear sets in, and that's when anger follows. And that's what we're experiencing right now. It is irritation at something that isn't the same, which then causes a panic of, oh my God, can I not do this anymore? Which then causes a fear of, I'm not going to be able to do this anymore, which makes you angry. See, all of our emotions, you can actually follow your actions. If you look at your actions, the end result, and then sort of backtrack, you can usually figure out a good place that you could have stopped the bad thing from happening. All right. Crazy day. Numbers are shit. I'm not happy. I am not happy. We usually have 4 times the amount of numbers that we have right now. And it's probably because and it's not like I've done an obviously worse show, right? Why all of a sudden? What did I say recently? Let's see. What could I have said that could have scared all of my loyal everyday listeners away? I don't know. I have no idea. All right. Anyway, we're just going to focus, and we're going to go through. We're going to do the show like we do every day. Are the channels not mixed? I see 12 people in the chat room, and it says I've got 2 listeners. What the fuck? It's all right. It's all right. We'll muscle through because the regulars are here. The people who need to be here for me to be able to get through this day are here. And in that vein, we'll say hi to Maddie. We'll say hi to Barney. We'll say hi to Peter. Mama B is here. It's always a good day when you can see Mama B. Let's see. Jen is here. Hi, Jen. Did it again. Big dumb fat fingers. I hate restraint. I hate it. Seriously, there's got to be a better one. There's got to be a better one. YouTube seems just better. I don't know. You know what it is? See, I am an amateur and I am working with a professional, and Ed from Radio Myth, he has expectations of me to be able to handle all of the stupid things. Like, I don't even know what Restream can do. I'm like driving a Ferrari in first gear. That's, I don't. So all I do is complain about how jerky it is in first gear. Well, it's a fucking Ferrari, dude. You don't know how to drive a Ferrari. That's the argument that I would get from the professionals when I complain about Restream. But okay. All right. A lot of stuff to get to today. We're going to talk about the war. We haven't really gone into, look, I've been telling you since the beginning, since February 28th, that was the day that this war started. Or is it a war? I don't know. I'm calling it a war. As long as we're sending soldiers home in bags, I'm calling it a war. Okay. So I've been saying how difficult it has been in the first 4 or 5 days to really get a handle on what the hell is going on over there, because so much is going on. There are things going all. I mean, it's just, so we're going to try and get a handle on what exactly is going on there. The big things, of course, are we've got now the Straits of Hormuz. I'm not even sure where that is. Is that? Is it what is the Straits of Hormuz? No, I don't know. Maybe we'll look at a map, or maybe we won't. I don't know. But we'll talk about the ships that are being bombed. We'll talk about what the American response to this is. We'll talk about how that is going to affect us. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about gas prices. We've been talking about that because today the price per barrel is popping off today. And so I have some questions about it. I learned this morning about oil. Yeah, what a surprise. I didn't know dick about oil. I learned this morning about oil. I learned about the 3 different kinds of crude oil. I learned about how they're priced and how each one of these types of oil affects our price at the pump. So we'll go through that. We'll explain how this is all a scam. I'll tell you this. We use... We'll talk about that. Also, I got some cool video. Do you guys know who Barry Diller is? Barry Diller is one of these evil media conglomerate billionaires who controls the puppet strings and, a Rupert Murdoch type. With all that said, I've always kind of thought Barry Diller was kind of okay. Like one of the okays. Barry Diller sat down and did a really cool interview. Barry Diller used to run ABC. He then ran Paramount for 30 years. He founded Fox. Rupert Murdoch gets the credit for it, but it was Rupert Murdoch just wrote a check. It was Barry Diller who created Fox TV. Not Fox News, but Fox TV. So he did that. He's a billionaire. He's married to Diane von Furstenberg. He's probably gay. That's always been the thing. It's he's gay, but he's married to Diane von Furstenberg. But he had a sit-down conversation, and his best friend, or one of his close friends, I should say, maybe not best friends. One of his best friends is close friends, is Jeff Bezos. And he started talking about Jeff Bezos and why Jeff Bezos produced the Melania movie, which, by the way, is now on Netflix. If you want to see that, I have no interest. He gives an explanation as to why, because people are like, why is Jeff Bezos spending $75 million? By the way, isn't that funny? The whole Melania documentary cost $75 million. Christy Gnome's 1 minute Super Bowl commercial cost us 140 or something. 204. It was 230 million or something. I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk about that. I thought it was really interesting. We'll because Barry Diller, He's he got no reason to bullshit. He's just gonna tell you exactly why his friend Jeff Bezos is doing some things that have people scratching their heads. I thought it was really interesting, so we'll listen to that. We've also got dead baby names, not dead babies, dead baby names. Okay, dead baby names. I got a list that was just released today of the names that are in regression. The names, I'll give you names for boys and names for girls that were the biggest droppers. And we're not naming our kids this anymore. Isn't that interesting? Dead baby names. When was the last time a baby was born and the parents said, let's call him Jim? When was the last time a Jim was written on a birth certificate? All right, so we'll get into that. What else do we have? We got a whole bunch of stuff. The New York Giants. Yeah, we would touch on the New York Giants. New York Giants ownership is trying to fool us a little bit. See, some of the New York Giants owners have been named in the Epstein list, and we'll talk about how the New York Giants are handling that. Let's see, what else? We did the baby names. I got another list here. This is fun. Another list. We'll talk about food. We got Food and Wine magazine has put out their yearly best food cities in America. So we'll get into that. We'll see where some of our favorite cities. Look, I found this last night, and somebody had posted something on Twitter. By the way, follow me on all my platforms, Pugs Moran, wherever it is, Pugs Moran. As long as it's got my picture. If it's just like an avatar of like a smiley, happy face, it's not me. It's just anything with Pugs Moran that has this face. Forgot what I was saying. Best foods. Okay, so yesterday I saw this article and it was on Twitter, and I started talking with some people, and I forwarded something as somebody from Chicago was saying that it's hard for people from good food cities, which we claim to be. It's hard for people from good food cities to really travel anywhere else and be impressed, because the everyday great food is, not a treat. It's every day. I made a list. I said on Twitter yesterday, and we'll see if this matches up with the list of best food cities. But in talking to this person yesterday on Twitter, I said, as a Chicagoan, we can travel to New York. I say Boston because I had the best Italian meal I ever had in Boston. New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., all of Texas, all of California, and Vegas. Those are the cities that I think if you're a Chicagoan who is used to a certain level of food, you can travel to and have your mind blown. Those are great. And I include all of California because California, up and down California, has everything. They've got incredible cuisine out there. Same for Texas. I mean, whether you're looking for barbecue, I had the best. This is something my partner Kelly used to make fun of me. We were going to San Antonio and we all stopped at a gas station, and this fucking gas station in the middle of nowhere was selling fried chicken. They're like, we make our own fried chicken. And I'm like, I got to try that. And Kelly's like, you're eating gas station chicken? And in the whole ride, the whole restaurant, Kelly and Sybil, Sybil was our producer, like, you eat gas station chicken. Ha ha. And I'm like, it was the best fried chicken I ever had, ever. At some gas station in some small town between Dallas and San Antonio. It was incredible. So you can travel around the whole state of Texas and get great food. You can do the same with California. But outside of that, I mean, it's just a couple of cities that have good food. As somebody argued, they're like, Miami has great food. I'm like, nah, I'm not a big fan of Cuban food. I'm just not. I'm sorry. No, you left New Orleans off? I'm like, New Orleans has the worst food in America. I don't know what the hell New Orleans did to fool people into thinking they've got good food. Anyway, we'll get into this. New Orleans, where they just burn the fuck out of everything and say, we meant to do that. No, thank you. All right. Also, a whole bunch of other stuff. We got some sports stuff. I got to talk about the WBC because we had some big things happen yesterday in the WBC. I told y'all to watch Italy and Mexico. We'll get into how that turned out and how that affects Team USA. All good. All right. And a bunch of other things too. I'm scrolling right now, just skipping over everything. Let's see here. Let me see. We've got an executive producer today. Yes, we do. No stranger to the role of executive producer of this show. It's Peter the Great. Peter tipped the show yesterday. Nobody else did, but Peter did. Actually, that's not true. So one other person tipped the show yesterday, and thank you to that person. That person who tipped yesterday, who knows who he is. He's in the chat room every day. He tips regularly, and unfortunately, he's always just like a little bit short of the executive producer. So one day I'm going to make him executive producer, but this person knows who they are, and they're incredibly important to the show moving forward. So thank you. But today, Peter the Great comes in with the executive producer title. Desperate. Come on, man. Seriously, 2 tips yesterday. I mean, with all due respect, thank you to the 2 people who did, because without them, probably wouldn't have done a show today. But thank you guys. We're still behind the 8 ball. We got 2 shows, $150. That means 2 bombs. We need 2 bombs dropped, or 1 bomb. I don't fucking care where it comes from. But this show is not going to make it this month. I mean, it probably will, but like towards the end of the month, and then we got to start again. So just, if you like this kind of talk, regular talk radio for normal people. Although I got to be honest with you. I say that we're regular talk for normal people, but we have definitely gone I used to be a centrist. I am being driven more left. I am being driven more left, not because I necessarily agree. The far left, fuck them. And the far right, fuck them. But I am just, because Trump is so right, and he seems to be doing everything to irritate me, I am being driven, and I think a lot of other people are as well. I think there's a real issue here for independents and moderates who are being pushed into the arms of people that we don't really want their embrace. I'm trying to stay more normal. I'm trying to stay more, my whole thing politically, my political ideology is that I don't give a shit about your little teams and your little games and your little colors, okay? I don't give a shit about that. What I care about is that working people in this country are not overlooked anymore. And it has been the job of the 2 political parties in power, whether it be the Republicans on the right, who seem to bend over backwards for fucking rich people at every turn, or whether it's been the placating, pandering left of the last few years that seem to bend over backwards for every tiny minority. They must be represented too. You know who's left out? We, the normal people in America. We haven't had anybody advocating for us since I don't know when. And that's what this show tries to do. So when I say we're the 70% normal people, what I mean is we're not the 15% on the right that's nuts, and we're not the 15% on the left that's nuts. It's just the rest of us, working people, okay? People who, like I said yesterday, the President of the United States and everybody that is around him, I promise you, his inner circle, everybody that he talks to every day, not a single goddamn one of them is sweating the price of gas. They don't give a fuck about us. What they're doing is they're telling us that it's worth it. The war is worth it. So look, this is sort of who I'm advocating for. Me. Poor to working class middle Americans. That's what we do here every day. And there is nothing for us. There is nothing. There is, you can find crazy far left YouTube podcasters, or you can just go on Modern American Broadcast Radio, and every AM station in America that isn't doing sports talk is doing some form of Trump water carrying. So, I try to do something that's a little bit different. Why? Because I can't get a job in modern broadcast radio because I refuse to do the shit that they'll make you talk about. So here we are, and we've been doing it for 5 years. So thank you to Peter. He is our executive producer. If you want to help this show continue, you drop a little something there in the Venmo or the Cash App. And again, it's not a full day thing, right? We're not doing I'm not giving out tote bags, right? Not taking calls on the air from people. I'd like to give $5. Thanks for your donation. Would you like a Radio Misfits tote bag? No, we don't do that. But if you're so inclined, drop a little something. Okay, I appreciate that. Back to the chat room. Let's see people. I wanted to comment on a couple of things that were going on in the chat room before, we had actually hit go live on the show. Mikey D's out at the Star in Frisco. Very good. Look at him. He's the Frisco King. We learned about that yesterday. New TV show from Taylor Sheridan coming to Frisco, the Frisco King. He's at the Star. The Star is Dallas Cowboys world headquarters. It's pretty cool. I've been out there a couple of times. I've been to the Star in Frisco, which is the Dallas Cowboys headquarters, and I've been to Hallis Hall, which is the Chicago Bears headquarters. And Hallis Hall is very nice. Hallis Hall just got redone like 3 years ago. They put like $1 billion into like all this new stuff. So it's very modern and it's very nice. The Star is a vacation resort. It's a little bit different. They do not have accommodations for people traveling, from elsewhere at Hallis Hall the way they do at the Star in Frisco. At 4-star hotels, restaurants, anything you want to do. It's very nice. Jerry's got a whole different view of the thing. Mikey D's out there. Also, Peter was in the chat room. Peter was in the chat room saying he won tickets on KRLD for Dave Matthews. I'm a donkey. That's Dave Matthews. I'm sorry, man. I could never in a million years sit through a Dave Matthews concert, whether I won the tickets or not. Seriously, that's Dave Matthews. I am not a fan. I'm not a fan of jam bands in general, and I'm certainly not a fan of jam bands who have pop hits, okay? That's not a thing. It's not a thing I'm into. But Peter, I want you to have a good time because once again, Peter is the executive producer of the show. And so if Peter says Dave Matthews is good, he sings like the sounds his band makes. Spin Doctors were better than Dave Matthews. They both kind of emerged around about the same time. I think the Spin Doctors were before Dave Matthews, but whatever. My point is this. They're kind of like the same kind of band, and Spin Doctors were better, if you ask me. Spin Doctors, that's a tragic story. You know that as Chris, the singer of the Spin Doctors, Chris, I can't think of his name. Like, they had that massive album the Spin Doctors had back in the early mid-90s. And then his voice went. He lost his voice. He had some kind of medical condition where he couldn't sing anymore. And the band was like, but we got a #1 album in a global tour. And he's like, I can't sing anymore. I can't do it. I like the Spin Doctors. Every now and then. My kid, this is how I know the Spin Doctors were actually good, because my kid has no biases, right? He's just heard the songs. He's like, oh, I like this song. I'm like, yeah, it's called Little Miss Can't Be Wrong. He's like, this is a good song. I go, yeah, it is. It is. Anyway, Dave Matthews, not a fan. But Peter, I want you to have a good time. I want Kim. I want you guys to go out. I want you to have a nice night on KRLD and enjoy Dave Matthews. I want to go to a karaoke night and just do Dave Matthews songs like a donkey. Just sing it like a donkey. Adam wants to get all lefty on me. He says advocating for a minority class is never at the expense of others. You just feel that way because you're a white man. Oh, thank you, Adam. Appreciate that opinion. It's completely wrong, but okay. Doesn't even make any sense. Advocating for someone means that, you're completely ignoring someone else because you are focused on advocating for this person. And that has been the problem with the Democratic Party. And it is also the problem why the Democratic Party can only win regional elections. They can't win anything nationally. They can't beat Trump. That should be the indicator that at the national level, maybe the Democrats should focus on the working class and not chicks with penises who want to swim against other women. Again, it's the losing issues that the Democrats have been pushing, and they need to stop that, Adam. I'm not saying we don't advocate for people who need advocating for. I absolutely believe that. I just don't think it should be our sole identity as the opposition party. That's what I'm saying. But I appreciate it. Appreciate Adam chiming in. Tommy Frank. Hey, Tom. Dude, I'm sorry. I got busy. Tom, did you send me a text going, hey, this is Tom. We used to be friends. Did you send me that text like a couple of days ago? And I was like, yeah. Because I'm looking at this and I'm like, what the fuck? Tom? Do you know how many Toms I know from my life? I mean, I immediately went, I hope this is Tommy Franks. So, Tom, was that you? I mean, like, I'm texting you. I'm thinking it's you. I'm assuming it's you. But then I'm like, what if that's a totally different Tom? So I stopped. I stopped texting. I didn't know. I'm like, am I even talking? I don't know. I just got hacked. Some dude is now texting me going, hey, it's Tom, your friend from the past, which sounds exactly the way somebody who was a hacker scammer might introduce them. Tom, right? Of course. I know like 50 Toms. I'm not going to immediately go, oh, that's a bullshit text from someone I don't know, because everybody knows a Tom. All right. Tom says Little Miss Can't Be Wrong was about his bitch of a stepmother. Was it? Been a whole lot easier since the bitch left town. Been a whole lot easier without a face around. Oh man, I didn't know that. I just thought it was about a chick he didn't like. All right. All right. Thank you, Tom. Tom, how's your uncle? Tom. So, Tom, all right, Tom, are you unaware of your place in my life's history? So, Tom, who is the original Pugs and Kelly producer from the Chicago days, who I've known forever, who I love like family, but as happens, sometimes we don't see each other very much, and that's kind of where we are. Hold on, let me see if I can find this. Why can't I find it? I'm sorry. Geez, I'm still getting all kinds of. My phone is filled with political texts. I don't know how I got on these phone lists. It's just filled with them. No, that's not it. All right, whatever. We figured it out anyway. Tom, it's good to have you back in my life. All right, Adam. I don't like to just shit on Adam and then not let him have his say. Adam says it's hard for white people, especially men, to not view the world where it's catered to themselves. Just get out of yourself, God damn. This is programming. This is absolute programming. He thinks all white men have had it nothing but good. It's just our expectations. I hate that, man. That is a toxic way of looking at your fellow citizen. Adam, with I guess no due respect, because this isn't a respectful thing to say, but I've said this, Adam. You are as racist as Nick Fuentes. You have bigotry. You have dislike. I'm not going to say hatred because I don't see Adam as a hateful person, but you certainly are bigoted against white people. And that's not admirable, dude. That's not admirable. You're just another kind of racist. So stop it. Because you're a white man. He wants me to get over myself. Yes, I am a pampered white man. I've had nothing but... All right. Hold on. You know what? I got to close this out. All right. We're done screwing around with the chat room, you people. All right. Let's talk about, let's get into the war stuff. Okay. Let's do it here. First question is, a couple of days ago, it was made official. We've got a new Ayatollah. The Ayatollah, it's same name, same everything, which is good because they probably don't have to change the stationery there. The Ayatollah Khomeini 3. This is the third Ayatollah Khomeini. See, here's the thing. There's only been 3. This is the most recent one. The original Ayatollah was the guy who took the hostages back in 80. That guy, that's classic Ayatollah. Like, if you're asking me, like, that's when I close my eyes, that's the dude that I picture, because he was our monster enemy for a large part of my childhood growing up. So I always knew the Ayatollah Khomeini. The Ayatollah Khomeini. He died, and he was replaced by a totally different guy, not related, named the Ayatollah Khomeini. Yeah. Fuck the spelling. I don't know. But the pronunciation it's just a little different. It's like Ayatollah Khomeini to Ayatollah Khomeini. I don't even know if I'm doing it right, but that's basically what the difference is. So now we got the new guy, and we don't even know if the new guy's alive. They've announced, the secession or the ascension of the new Ayatollah, the son of the former Ayatollah, which is interesting. I didn't know that it was like monarchic. I didn't know it was like being a king, being an Ayatollah. I thought that was a religious leader, and it was a position that you were granted because you had sort of gone through the work of being like the guy who knows more about the religion than anybody. I thought that's how you became an Ayatollah. I had no idea it could be passed down to your kid, your ne'er-do-well kid, who's now, that's like a prince and a king. That's, whatever. But yeah, that's the deal. So they elevated the son of the Ayatollah, who was killed on the 28th in the first round of bombings, which is, it's just, who are we fighting here? Why were they all in one place? Like, again, this is what we've been led to believe. I don't know if it'll be true. History will bear it out. We'll find out. But in the opening days of the war, we were led to believe that the head of the Iranian fundamentalist regime had been decapitated in the first hours of strikes because they were all meeting together. They were all like in the same room, not Zoom, not all of them in their bunkers. No, they were all in the same place. And Israel went, hey, America, they're all in the same place. And so we blew them the fuck up. Not a problem for me. I think that's good. I've been calling for regime change. By the way, it's also good to hear there are a number of other people who I think maybe have been branded as like libtards, or at least a little lefty or whatever, who feel the exact same way as I do. Told you from the beginning, this is a good war. This is a war that should have been done years ago. This is the answer to a problem we've been facing my entire life, which is how do we straighten out the Middle East? Well, for the most part, most of those countries are on board with the Western way of sort of, making everybody rich. And, everybody from Jordan to Saudi Arabia to Oman to the UAE to even Egypt playing nice, right? Syria, we don't have a problem there anymore. Assad is gone. Everybody is pretty much toeing the line except for Iran. Had to be done. Iran's the troublemaker. Iran is who, all of the terror that we still have there, whether we're talking about Houthis or we're talking about Hezbollah or Hamas, these people are all funded by Iran, by proxy money, for terror and war and all that. And we're seeing it now. We are seeing attacks on U.S. military bases all over the region. We're also seeing attacks on shipping lanes and ships, and we'll get into that in a minute. But these are all being done by the proxies, by Iran's, Iran spent the last 40 years sending missiles and drones and all this shit to these groups to fuck with Israel, which is why Israel has been mad at Iran forever. So as you can see, Iran is the problem. So as far as regime change, that's what I want to hear them say, that this was about regime change. Oh, Pugs, we don't engage in regime change. Oh, shut the fuck up. We just kidnapped the president of Venezuela. What are you talking about? We don't participate in regime change. We've participated in regime change all over the world. Since Oppenheimer built the bomb, we have been participating in regime change because we can. That's what we do. Goes back to my old rant about how we don't give a shit about educating our kids because that's too expensive. And we sure as hell don't give a shit about taking care of our old people because, again, that's too expensive. Why is it too expensive? Because we need to spend all of that money on bombs because we're going to police the world. That was the deal we made. You may not like that deal. Hell, I don't know that I love that deal, but that is the deal that we have. So we have to do things like get rid of the Ayatollah and the fundamentalists there in Iran so that we can have some hope for some semblance of peace. Now, the problem is, why now? It just looks shady. Like, it just looks shady. Why now? I mean, I'm glad we're doing it. It needs to be done. But there's a whole lot of other things going on that, make me wonder, they're not doing it for the reasons that I think people like me want them to be doing it, which is regime change and stability in the region. Nah, I think they're doing it because Netanyahu, ever since the October 7th situation there with Hamas, right? Israel and Netanyahu has been like, that's it, let us go. Take the muzzle off us, let us go. And we've kind of been like, calm down, calm down, calm down. But now Trump needs a distraction because the Epstein shit won't go away. There is more. There's another tranche that was just released with all kinds of crap. So he's desperate now and he needs the distraction. And quite frankly, he's probably been sitting around a bunch of generals in rooms since 2016 when he was first elected. And they're going, you know what, Mr. President, we should really handle this Iranian thing. So Trump is like, you know, let's do that now. Let's just go ahead and do it now. Create whatever reasons you want. He's got a million different reasons. You know, they were 2 weeks away from a nuclear attack on San Francisco. 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away from a nuclear attack is the initial justification that was trickling out of the Trump administration as to why we decided to go to war on the 28th of February. Now, you know, to most of us Trump critics, that was like, wait a second, 2 weeks away? Last June, you destroyed all of their nuclear. You took a victory lap. You did an end zone dance. And then when people were like, hey, we had boots on the ground there, and they say that those nuclear things, those nuclear facilities are not damaged, and they'll be back up and running. And Trump was like, you're lying, fake news, fake media. They're destroyed. We have completely destroyed Iran's capability to make nuclear weapons. That was the big fight from last June. Well, now, February 28th or whatever, Trump is like, they're 2 weeks away from making a nuke. But what happened? What? You told us different. So the whole reason for engagement is a little sketchy. It's a little sketchy. But again, I'm for it. For it. All right, whatever. I don't know about now, but this is something that needed to be done. My point is this. Most people think of me as a moderate, a middle moderate, left-leaning. I am socially progressive, that is for sure. So most people see me as that way, and yet here I am talking like a war hawk. I'm not a hawk in all aspects, but I am certainly a hawk in this regard that Iran needs to be gone. Persia, let's bring back Persia. Now, over the last couple of weeks, I've started to see other people who are also seem to be left-leaning. Bill Maher went on a big rant last Friday about how this is a good war, that this is good that Trump is doing this. He sort of echoed the same kind of feelings about it that I just shared with you here and have been sharing since it started, which is the timing is a little weird, but okay. All right, we needed to do it, so... John Fetterman. I saw John Fetterman last night. Now, I'm not a big John Fetterman fan. I don't know what, Senator Grimace is all about. I can't figure him. I can't get a read on him. I consider myself a terrific judge of character, and I just can't get a bead on him. He's slippery. Anyway, Fetterman was on CNN last night. Talking about how this is a good war. That the reason that he didn't sign on with all the other lemming Democrats who were like, this is terrible. He's like, the reason I didn't do that was because I think this is a good war. So more people are coming around to that idea, more people on the left. I mean, there's people on the right that have been carrying water for Trump. But again, this is another one of those situations where even a blind squirrel gets a nut every once in a while. Trump didn't go into this war for any honorable reasons. I believe he went into this war to change the narrative of what we were all talking about in this country. And it's been effective. If the end result of that is that this was something that should have been done a long time ago, I mean, okay, that's the blind squirrel getting his nut. He tripped over it, and now he's got a nice meal. Khomeini, the new Ayatollah there, we don't know if he's alive, but there's reports now that he's in a coma. Yesterday, the reports are that he broke his foot in a fall. Did you hear about that? And now that went from broke his foot in a fall to he's in a coma and nobody has heard from him. He made a statement today, though, but it wasn't, on TV or anything. It was just a written statement, which has got people going, he's dead. He's there. There is no Ayatollah. They're just saying there's an Ayatollah so that the people will think there's an Ayatollah. But here's what he said. Khomeini, trying to pronounce it properly. Khamenei said the Strait of Hormuz must stay closed and that all U.S. military bases in the Middle East should shut immediately, warning of further attacks. He says attacks will continue and that he wants the U.S. and Israel to pay financially. He also praised in his message regional proxy groups who have been attacking U.S. military bases on Iran's behalf. He's talking there about Hezbollah, which has been just last night. Hezbollah went nuts. Hezbollah. Here's how, because we hear these names, right? So let's take the three big ones that we deal with. We deal with the Houthis, we deal with Hezbollah, and we deal with Hamas. Hezbollah is in Lebanon. Okay, so whenever you hear about problems in Beirut or Lebanon, that's Hezbollah. Hamas is in Gaza. So whenever you hear about issues in Gaza or, deep in Israel, that's Hamas. When you hear about Houthis are basically an African Muslim extremist group, North Africa, Egypt, but also like places like Qatar and Oman. The Houthis are like the one that people are looking at the most going, Jesus, are they growing quickly? That group is growing real quick. So those are like the three proxy groups, and you've got Ayatollah Khomeini out there supposedly praising them, saying that the Straits of Hormuz, him saying that the Straits of Hormuz need to be shut is very important because that's where our oil comes from. That is like a hallway between one side of the world and the other, and you need to go down this hallway if you want to go from one side of the world to the other. I suppose you can, what's the other way? You have to go around Africa. You can go like the long way, but anyway, talk about oil prices. If all of a sudden oil tankers are having to go around South Africa, geez. So that's the problem, right? We need the Straits of Hormuz to stay open because that's where our ships come from. This is the reason that Trump seems so obsessed with destroying the Iranian Navy. And he did. He's destroyed a bunch of their, do they have battleships? Whatever. He's destroyed a bunch of their ships. But what the Iranian Navy uses, especially there in the Straits of Hormuz, are these speedboats, these easily hidden speedboats. They've got tens of thousands of these speedboats. And what they do is they just pack these speedboats with explosions, and then they literally, they will be on the speedboat, like going really fast towards like the broad side of an oil tanker, and then they'll bail out of the speedboat, and then jet skis pick them up, and they go back, and then the speedboat rams into the boat and explodes. It's a speedboat bomb. That's what's happening in the Straits of Hormuz. They're also firing missiles at ships and stuff like that, handheld. There was one report of a guy on a jet ski. We're fighting a battle for oil in the Straits of Hormuz. We have satellite technology and drones and, guided missiles from ships in the Persian Gulf that we can use. And they got a guy on a jet ski with a shoulder rocket launcher. This is the fucking situation. This is the quagmire that experts said. This is why we don't put boots on the ground, because we walk in there with all of our toys thinking that, this is how we do it. And then we fight a guerrilla war with a bunch of people who live in holes during the best of times. It's not good. Robots. This is why we need robots, drones, and missiles. That's it. That should be our fighting. Trump told ship captains. Okay, so let's talk the Straits of Hormuz. Khomeini says that the Strait of Hormuz must stay closed. The United States is saying Straits of Hormuz is open. Trump told all these ship captains to show some guts. That's what Trump said to him. President Donald Trump told commercial ships waiting near the Straits of Hormuz to show some guts. The comment came during a Sunday interview with Fox and Friends, in which the president insisted Iran's military had been effectively neutralized by recent U.S. strikes. Tehran, he said, no longer had the capacity to threaten maritime traffic through one of the most important oil choke points on the planet. There was little to fear. Tankers could move, Trump said. Show some guts. That's what he said. Dude, you're a ship captain, Bulgarian or whatever the fuck you are, and you've got this oil tanker, and you're looking at going through the Straits of Hormuz going, they're going to blow me up. And Trump's going, what are you, a pussy? By the way, so let's move on to the next story here. Iran is blowing up ships in the Straits of Hormuz. That's right. Iran, Trump called them all pussies and said, what, are you afraid? And they've blown up 7 ships in the last 24 hours. Whole bunch of dudes are dead. And we got the president going, what are you, a pussy? Show some guts. Just, again, I don't take the bait on everything, but there are so many unpresidential things about this guy. So the deaths of the people who were on boats that were attacked yesterday in the Straits of Hormuz, those deaths are 100% on the shoulders of the president of the United States. He didn't give a fuck. He didn't give a fuck about the 6. He wouldn't even take his fucking hat off for the 6 that came home last week. He didn't give a shit about some rando Bulgarian ship captain and his crew who were just killed yesterday because he told them to not be pussies and to show some guts. He also says the war is over. Here, this was him yesterday. This is a little. Hold on. Are you going to make me watch a commercial just so that we can listen to this president be silly? No, we're not. We're okay. Okay. I watched this. So this was Trump yesterday. He, wait, maybe not. I don't know what I'm looking at here.
Concerns about rising costs, but he is still sending those mixed messages about how long this war is going to last. This morning, as the war with Iran sends gas prices skyrocketing, President Trump trying to assure Americans that pain at the pump will be short-lived. Speaking to supporters in Kentucky, Trump declaring victory.
We've won. Let me say, we've won. You know, you never like to say too early you won. We won. We won the bet. In the first hour, it was over. But we won.
But just minutes later,
we don't want to leave early, do we? We got to finish the job, right?
For the first time since starting this war, the president...
First of all, let me just say this. I'm old enough to remember George Bush flying onto the aircraft carrier on 3 days after the Iran war going, mission accomplished. Remember the big banner? And then 20 years later, we got people hanging on the wings of airplanes trying to get the fuck out of there. Yeah, 20 years later, mission accomplished. Come on, man. And now the president, by the way, also, the fuck is the president doing? What's he doing? Is he live in concert? He's not running for anything. What is he doing? He loves the ego of the fuck. He loves the ego rush. He loves everything about him. That's the job. He just wants to be able to sell out with a bunch of stupid people to 15%, you know, or still going to a Trump rally. What is he rallying? Support for the war? I mean, that's not what fucking presidents do. He's elected. He's doing it because that's what he loves, because that's what small men do. Small men need daddy love me. Daddy love me. That's what he does with these idiots that he goes out there and... Are those tickets free? What is he charging? At some point, does he charge? I don't even know. Are Trump rallies free? I bet he gets a piece of the concessions. You know he gets a piece of the concessions. I bet also there's lots of merch. Well, of course there's merch. So maybe it is free. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, Trump says the war is over, but nobody told Iran because here's some video of Iran. They were very active yesterday. Yesterday was a big day. That's why we're talking about this stuff. We'll get to the ships in a minute, okay? But here you go. Here's is this some video? See video of U.S. strikes on Iranian vessels in the Straits of Hormuz. No, that's not it. All right, never mind. You know, let's move on to the next thing. Yeah, okay, so let's talk about the ships. Because remember, President Trump on Sunday on Fox News told the ship captains not to be pussies. He said, quote, show some guts. Show some guts. Well, now there's ship captains who are dead now because yesterday Iran, and probably through their proxies, remember I told you about the guys on jet skis with the rocket loaders and then the speedboats loaded with, you know, dynamite or whatever. To me, it's dynamite, right? It's like sticks of dynamite. I don't know. I've seen too many movies, but it's something, and that's how they're doing it. And Iran is blowing up ships. Let's see here. Here are some notice. Intensification of attacks. In the last 48 hours alone, at least 7 ships have been targeted, marking a significant surge in the conflict's maritime dimensions. In the Straits of Hormuz, where Trump on Sunday told captains to stop being pussies and get in there, it's fine. So they get in there, and again, in the last 48 hours, 7 ships have been destroyed. targeting strategy. Iran has declared that the Straits of Hormuz are effectively closed and labeled any vessel destined for the U.S., Israel, or their hostile partners as a legitimate target. Casualties and missing personnel are mounting. There are at least 8 mariners who have been known to have been killed in these incidents, and several others, including 3 crew members from a Thai vessel that remain missing. Types of vessels that are being attacked by Iranian proxies. Let's see here. The attacks have impacted a variety of commercial traffic, including oil and chemical tankers, container ships, as well as private fishing vessels. All right, we don't care about that. We get our fish from Kroger. I don't need. But yeah, okay. So oil and chemical tankers, container ships. So all of these things, these goods that move effortlessly on a normal day through these very important ports. Again, think of them as like a hallway that connects one part of the world to the other part of the world. Trump is saying, it's open, it's fine. We destroyed their military. Don't be pussies. And Iran is saying, no, it's closed. If you go in there, we'll blow you up. And here it is, believing Trump over the Ayatollah Khomeini is getting people killed. Imagine that. Trump is lying. The Ayatollah is telling the truth. If you come in here, we will kill you. Be fair warned. And Trump is saying, don't be a pussy. They wouldn't dare. Well, they're doing it. They're doing it. Now, this is a big problem because, again, we can destroy their navy and we can destroy their big ships. And in conventional strategy, one military against another, the Americans are way more powerful, but that is not how anybody is ever going to fight America. This is going to be a crazy little guerrilla war that we can't really comprehend because they're going to be like ants. They're going to be like ants on jet skis with like rocket propelled, mortars. They're going to be on speedboats packed with TNT. Again, I don't know if it's TNT, but you get my point. A lot of people are going to die. This is going to be, they'll all die. Don't get me wrong. Mr. Rock, he'll get fucking droned, but he'll get one off. He'll get one off. That's the problem. Also, they're fundamentalists. They're radicalized fundamentalists. Now, I don't know that everybody in Iran is, but I bet that somebody who's willing to ride a jet ski around the Straits of Hormuz with a shoulder-mounted missile launcher, I bet you that guy's pretty radical. So you think he's worried? You don't think he wants to die? Those people want to die, 70 virgins and whatnot. All right, so this is going to go on for a while. This is a real problem. Unless there is just a major full-time American military presence in the Straits of Hormuz, and, this is where our allies would come in handy. Like, this is where it would be really good to be able to go to England and say, hey, why don't we put all of your Navy there so that we can concentrate on the other things? But see, they're not with us. They're not with us on this. And I don't know that, who's with, I don't know that, some weird Eastern European country that Trump's got on his board of peace is going to be effectively sending a Navy to protect the oil interests in the Straits of Hormuz. Here we go. Let's look at this, though. All right. So I did a deep dive on oil because oil's in bad shape today. The threat had been over 100. By the way, Iran is saying 200. Iran is saying we're going to $200 a barrel of oil. Now, here's a way to look at this, all right? Because I know that means nothing. We don't trade in barrels of oil. We buy at the pump. So look at it this way. Hold on. Where was it? It was written away, and I want to make sure I read it the same way. Yeah, I don't have it. It was the most interesting part of this, and I didn't bother to write it down because I went, that's so interesting. I'll never forget it. Basically, here's how you look at it. I think it's for every dollar that a price of a barrel oil, every dollar that a barrel of oil increases, for every dollar that the price of a barrel of oil increases, that is about 2.5 cents at the pump. So every time we see it go up, the price, a barrel of oil goes up by $1, that translates essentially to 2.4 cents at the pump. Okay. So that's just 2 points. It has gone up a lot. All right. Let me tell you right now. So there's three kinds of oils. Hey, look, we don't know about oils. I did a deep dive today just because I was trying to figure out exactly what we're talking about here. There are three kinds of oils out there. It's all crude oil. We know the name Brent crude, right? You hear Brent crude oil. Then there's WTI crude oil. And then there's something called Dubai crude oil. Okay. Brent crude oil, which is the one that we hear most about here in America, Brent crude oil comes from the North Sea. Brent crude oil is like UK and Norway, and they run it. It's a Europe offshore drilling. The kind of thing we want to do here, drill, baby, drill, but they're doing it up there. And that's Brent crude oil. WTI oil is here in the United States. That's Texas. WTI is West Texas International, I think. West Texas, that's oil from Oklahoma, Texas, and all of that. That's WTI crude. So we got Brent crude and we got WTI crude. The third kind of crude oil that is one of the major players here is called Dubai crude. That is the stuff that comes out of the Mideast, right? That's run by the United Arab Emirates. It's the Mideast, it's Asia. All right, so we got WTI, Texas crude, Brent crude, which is North Sea crude, and then Dubai crude. So these are the three kinds of crudes. Let's see where the prices are right now, okay? Remember, the it's time to panic number is 100. If the price of a barrel of oil goes over 100, that's when the markets start to panic, and that's where people start to freak out, and that's where the price at the pump begins to rise. And Khomeini is promising $200 a barrel. So here's where we are today, and this is kind of a problem. It says here we've got... Okay, Brent crude right now is at 102. So Brent crude, again, that's the stuff that comes from the North Sea. This is the stuff that we use most. It's for our gas. That is at $102 a barrel. Again, we're $2 over. Oh, just for edification, where was oil? Where was Brent crude oil, which is now at $101 a barrel? Where was it on the 27th of February? Because remember, we started the war on the 28th. On the 27th of February, it was $67. Brent crude oil was $67 a barrel. So since February 27th, we're now at March 12th. Since February 27th, Brent crude oil has gone from $67 a barrel to $102 a barrel. All right, so that's 35. Is that quick math there? 35 cents or 35 numbers. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. From 67 to 102 in just about a week to 10 days, right? Now, remember the formula. For every dollar that it goes up, we add 2.5 cents at the gas, at the gas pump, right? So what is that? 35 times 2, that's 70 cents plus another half. So that's about $1.05. So gas prices at the pump right now, or very shortly, because this is today's number, will be up about $1.05 over what it was on February 27th. And the president just wants us to put up with it. He says we can do it. That's not a big deal. Yeah, it's not a big deal for you, rich guy, because you have never in your life driven to another gas station because the one that was more convenient was a little too pricey. Something that we do. Keep going. There's a shell up here. Fuck this mobile. There's a shell up here. Let's try that one. That's how normal people buy gas. Okay. Also, we're going to return to gas lines. They were talking about this morning. I saw that on Fox News. They were predicting they had some like oil guy. We're going to see a gas situation the way we saw in 1974, he said, which I got to be honest. I was alive in 1974, although apparently I wasn't paying attention to shit because I don't remember gas lines. People maybe a little bit older than me, they'll be like, oh yeah, I remember we had to sit in the car for like 2 hours waiting for gas. So I don't remember that, but that's something that they say is coming back. So gas lines in Trump's America. All right, let's see here. Yeah, all right. So, there's the number I was looking for. Oh, I've got all the numbers here. Okay, so on the 27th, I got it wrong. I told you that Brent crude, which is at 102 right now, Brent crude oil is trading at $102 per barrel. On the 27th, the day before the war, Brent crude was at 72. Right? I told you 67. I was wrong. That was West Texas. WTI crude on the 27th was at 67. Brent crude on the 27th was at 72, and Dubai crude was at 68 on the 27th. And again, so just for those numbers, where we are today is significantly higher. Brent crude is at 101. West Texas crude is at 95, and Dubai crude oil, which makes sense, is at 113. So the oil that was taken out of the ground in the Middle East, which on the 27th was going to cost us 67, right? Or 68, is now 113, which makes sense because that's where the trouble is. What I don't get why our gas prices are going up when we rely on gasoline that's Brent crude from the North Atlantic. That's where we get our shit from. That's the oil. There's no war going on there. They don't have to travel. They don't have to get the oil out of the North Sea and then go around the world and through the Straits of Hormuz. They're already in the North Atlantic. I don't understand it. But the oil companies have been doing this forever. They're doing it forever. They justify any little thing that happens anywhere in the world. It's going to be the reason why you're paying 7 cents more at the pump. There was an earthquake in China. That's why. We're the oil company. Earthquake in China. There was a tsunami in Africa. Gas is now 10 cents more. I mean, they do it all the time. They do it all the time because they do it preemptively, because they do not want to lose money on their back end. So they do it preemptively so that they can overcompensate. It's the story I told you about the Dollar Tree. When inflation was up 14%, right? Remember when everything at the Dollar Tree was $1? Everything was $1. You walk in, it's $1. Maybe you pay change or whatever, or tax. Everything's $1. Then the economy collapsed and inflation started to rise, and it rose 14%. So 14 cents basically on that dollar. So the Dollar Tree said, we got to raise our prices because inflation. We're not making money selling things for $1. So they raised it to $1.25. Even though the increase had only been 14 cents, they raised it 25 and were able to profit 11 additional cents. Why? Because we, the public, were like, well, the economy's bad. They just raised it a quarter. They used that to actually make more money. Bullshit. The oil companies do that all the time. Let's see. Another story that we had going on here earlier today. I don't know how this turned out. Let me see if I can get the latest. There was an active shooter this morning around 10:30 on the campus of Old Dominion University, which is in Norfolk, Virginia. Let me see what the latest here is. Do we have anything? 4 minutes ago. Okay. Here we go. That's the good one. 4 minutes, because my other choices were 2 hours ago when we didn't have any information. All right, this comes to us from Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. It says 3 victims hurt after shooting at Old Dominion University, gunman killed. Don't know any of these details. So let's do that thing that I do as we read the details. We try to figure out what kind of shooting is this? Because I'm sorry, but there is a difference. I am freaked out by the terror, Allah Akbar at the mall. Like, is that the shooting? I'm also freaked out by the, middle-aged white man who's got a bitch ex-wife and shit doesn't work right. So he's just going to pull his rifle out of his trunk and start shooting people in the parking lot there at the food store. That guy freaks me out. The spree killers who just want to be they freak me out. But also we have shootings in this country that are, personal. That guy screwed me out of a deal, so I'm going to catch him in the lunchroom and or, gang related. He's in a different gang, or he's banging my girlfriend. There are reasons. I am freaked out by anything. It can happen to anybody. Like, I'm freaked out by instances of shootings where I'm dead simply because I went to Target at the wrong time, right? Like when I hear 10 people were killed in the backyard in Atlanta, I'm like, okay, that was a graduation party that the wrong gang members showed up to. I am not worried about that because I am never going to that graduation party in the backyard in Atlanta. I understand that is, environmental, and there are very specific things that led to that. But just going to Target, or, when we think about in Texas, the Allen Mall, just going to, that's the worst. So as we read this, these developments now about Old Dominion. Let's try and figure out what this was. Is this just a guy who wants to kill somebody that he knows, or is this just a dude that wants to kill people? Let's see. 3 victims hurt after shooting at Old Dominion University. Gunman has been killed. That's good. Appreciate that. All classes and operations on campus have been suspended for the day, the university said. Old Dominion University put out an all-clear notification at 12:05 p.m. All right, let's see what the details are, if we have any. 3 people have been hurt after a shooting at Old Dominion University on Thursday, according to ODU officials. The gunman has been killed, and an all-clear notification was put out by the university. Officials are holding a press conference to provide updates on the shooting. Hey, look, we actually got the press. I didn't realize there was a press. All right, let's see what they say. Let's see what this was about. We'll just check in on it. All right, here we go.
Investigation unfolded. We promise that as soon as we get to that point, we're going to set it up and tell you that. We have not gotten into the crime scene. We have not searched the crime scene, and that's enough on that question.
Is it known that the third victim was also an ROTC member?
Not confirmed. We haven't confirmed that any of them are, or all of them are. So at this point, that's what we're in the process of doing.
ROTC? This is an ROTC shooting?
Somebody may or may not be.
All right, let's go to the beginning. Let's see. What do they say at the beginning here? All right.
Providing support for our students, faculty, and staff. And so over in our BDC, we are set up right now for those who need support. And we are of the ways tragic, sure that we're doing everything in our power.
Right, I want to hear the opening statement from the cop. This is just the spokesperson for the university.
For today, and we are closing the university for tomorrow as well.
What can students expect to see around campus? Will they see increased police presence?
What the hell? How do I get to the cop? How do I get to the beginning of this thing? All right, whatever. It doesn't seem that serious. We'll figure it out. Old Dominion University, there was a shooting there. It looks like the only person who's dead is the shooter. So, take that for what it is. Let's see. What else do we have? How about this? There's a movement here that I wanted to mention, and I don't know. I'm going to shut my mouth. So there's a whole bunch of people in America that are trying to get a whole bunch of other people in America to just not pay their taxes this year because they don't approve of anything that Trump is doing. Which is interesting. So let's get into this. Let's see how this could work. Because the only way that I could see this actually working is if everybody stops paying their taxes. They can't get us all, right? But unfortunately, everybody is not going to not pay their taxes. So it's probably going to be easy to go after the few thousand. Anyway, let's do the story. Here you go. U.S. taxpayers are refusing to pay federal government taxes amid ICE surges and the war with Iran. Here's a quote now. I'm not paying my federal income taxes this year, Rachel Cohn declared in a recent Instagram video that received more than 140,000 likes. All right, so you got Rachel Cohn there. She's on Instagram, and she's like, I ain't paying my taxes. The 31-year-old lawyer plans, she's a lawyer, okay. The 31-year-old lawyer plans to put the $8,800 that she owes the federal government in a high-yield savings account instead. She doesn't want to fund wars in Iran and Gaza or immigration agents detaining her neighbors, she says. I wonder why she didn't mention Ukraine. She doesn't want to fund wars in Gaza. She doesn't want to fund wars in Iran. She doesn't like the ICE agents. Many commenters said that they wanted to do the same. Others worried about her, saying, she said, I've gotten a lot of people saying to me, Rachel, this is illegal, she said, to which she responds with gentleness, don't worry, I'm a competent attorney. Okay, she knows what she's doing. She's covering her bases. She's making sure that every step of the way she's going to have a defense for this in court. Many commenters said that they wanted to do the same. Cohn is part of a new generation of Americans refusing to pay some or all of their federal income taxes. It's not a new form of dissent, but one that is, but one of the first protests in the United States was, after all, a protest of unfair taxation. All right, I don't care. Whatever. People aren't going to pay their taxes. And again, my thought on this is, what is there, 400 million people in this country? What is the population? That's a good question. I think it's like 400 million people. Hold on. What is the current population of the United States? Look at 342. All right. So not quite 400, but 342 million people are here in this country. If 342 million, okay, so how many of those are taxpayers? Let's get how many kids? Fuck, don't do this math. Whatever. A very large portion of us in unison would have to not pay our taxes in order for none of us to get in trouble. But if just like some people, it'll be easy. You'll get caught. You'll get got. And you don't all have law degrees like Rachel here. So Rachel is like probably making sure to mitigate any kind of penalties that may come her way for this act of defiance. Let's see. What else do we got? Oh, I want to talk a little bit about this story. I love this story. This is, what should I do? Yeah, let me take a break first. Here's what I'm going to do. I want to go take a break. I need another cup of coffee. Quick break. When we come back, are you guys familiar with this story? I wanted to mention it yesterday, but there was something breaking on it, which turned out to not be all that important. So I didn't do it yesterday. I wanted to watch this video that was attached to it. But it is a story of the last couple of days. This is interesting. There are some very curious aspects to this story. Here's the story. So I don't know if you guys know this, but the United States general, the United States Air Force general, who's in charge of all of our UFO programs, has gone missing. He's missing. The FBI, that was the breaking news yesterday, was that the FBI is now in charge of this case, trying to find this general who was in charge of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which is, where the remains from the Roswell crash has been stored, and where it is long believed among UFO weirdos. I'm a UFO truther. There's a difference between being a UFO truther and a UFO weirdo. The UFO weirdos have been saying that for, 50, 60 years, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base has been the place where we're keeping aliens from another planet. I don't believe that. But anyway, this guy, this general, was in charge of it. And he was also the leading military mind in the whole UFO discussion here in the country. So he's gone missing. We're going to talk about that. Plus, we got a whole bunch of other stuff. I still want to listen to what Barry Diller, one billionaire, has to say about Jeff Bezos, his friend, and another billionaire, as to why he thinks he paid for the Melania movie. It's very interesting. Plus a whole bunch more. Dead baby names, best food cities in America. Did the Cowboys doctor advise the Ravens doctor that I wouldn't take Max Crosby? Woo, all that and more coming up. Give me a quick break. One more time, let's remind you that our executive producer of today's show is Peter the Great. Hi, Peter. Peter's here. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate it. If you want to help support this show, we need to make $150 by tomorrow. We ain't going to do it. We ain't fucking going to come close to it. We ain't never. I mean, unless like some miracle angel comes in and helps us out, but we ain't going to do it. So just help us get as close as we can. Peter is today's executive producer. If you want to drop a little something and help the show, you can do the Venmo or the Cash App. I'll leave it right there. Quick break, fresh coffee, and back with all of that stuff I just told you and more. It's The Rant with me, Pugs Moran. Back after this. right, let's go. Sorry about that. That was a little bit longer than I'd anticipated because there were a couple of things going on. My alerts for about the last hour, my alerts have been going off, and it's difficult for me to really check my alerts because remember I was monitoring the situation in Norfolk at Old Dominion University, or Norfolk. Is it Norfolk where it was, or is that like more Virginia Beach? I think it's Norfolk. Anyway, there was a situation that occurred on the campus of Old Dominion University this morning. The shooter is dead. Didn't really get the details. Anyway, it's all very cloudy, but it doesn't seem like there are any casualties there, which is good. My alerts have been going crazy. That is, my alerts have been going crazy, and I thought they were all for that, but they're not. Apparently, there's another situation that is occurring in Michigan. There is a, again, it looks it looks good. It looks like, I mean, if we're going to have these scary situations, we do not know what the motivation is in Old Dominion University. We heard that it occurred during an ROTC situation on the campus there of Old Dominion, and we know that the shooter in that case is dead. But we bailed out of the press conference or something. We didn't hear everything. All we know is that that doesn't seem, I don't know. I don't want to say anything about that, but it doesn't look like it's a mass casualty event. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. So I wasn't paying attention. I thought all of my alerts were for that. I thought that's what they were still covering. And it turns out we've got a situation in Michigan. This comes to us from the Detroit News, the free press, if you will, one of the finest newspapers in journalism. Shooter dead, kids safe. What we know about the Temple Israel shooting attack earlier this afternoon. Shots were fired at a West Bloomfield synagogue Thursday after a vehicle rammed into the building's front door, prompting nearby schools to shelter in place and emergency officials to warn residents to avoid the area. More alerts. Oh, Jesus. Those are my scanner alerts because I've got all my other alerts turned down because I can't be taking. Here, where is it? It says the incident happened before 1 p.m., 5275 Walnut Lake Road, west of Orchard Lake Road and east of Drake. Hold on, let me see. Let's look at this. All right. So this is where it occurred. West Bloomfield Hills, Michigan is where this temple was. Temple? Synagogue. There we go. That's it. Synagogue. I knew that there was a proper terminology for it. Here's the synagogue. What is this? Is this because something's happening? Because, Google does that. West Bloomfield incident. Yeah, Michigan. Let's see here. Official updates on X. Horrified to hear. Okay, those are just. This is a very wealthy area. This West Bloomfield is where a lot of automotive industry executives, professional athletes, that kind of thing. Will show it to you in relation to Detroit. Detroit, you can see it's out here. Here is Detroit. So Bloomfield is sort of like the Plano or the Frisco, if you will, of this area. All right, here, let's take a look at it. Let's check out the neighborhood where this happened. Looks like a very, very nice place. All right, come on, get me in there. There we go. Ooh. Oh, I guess we can't see it. Look, very pretty campus, trees, long drive. So, okay, so apparently what we've been told, well, maybe we can see better. Go down here. Google Maps are so great. Do you guys just drive around? I don't know. I'm a weirdo. You want to know what a weirdo I am? Over the last couple of nights, I watch car chases. I've been watching a lot of car chases on YouTube, like live car chases. I drive around cities on Google Maps. Like I was driving around Beirut Like I wanted to, because I'm watching a Beirut live stream of like, bombings and all that. So I was driving around Beirut. And then you know what else I've been doing? It's because I'm a dork. Endlessly. I have been endlessly playing on the PFF mock draft simulator. I have run like 100 different drafts for the Cowboys and the Bears. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. I love Google Maps. Probably shouldn't take this tone with a story that's serious, but as we're reading here, nobody's hurt. Kids are fine. Shots were fired at a West Bloomfield synagogue on Thursday afternoon after a vehicle rammed into the building's front door, prompting nearby schools to shelter in place. The incident happened before 1 p.m. Members of the synagogue were told via text before 1:30 p.m. lockdown is still in place, but the active shooter has been taken down. Lockdown will be in place until they look. Hold on. I got to figure out how to say this because, again, I do a stream of consciousness rant where I don't really govern myself because I trust myself not to say anything too horrible because I'm not a horrible person. But sometimes the way we phrase things needs to be a bit more honed in. So, are there shitty Jewish synagogues? Because there are shitty churches. Like there are churches in bad neighborhoods. There are churches. Sometimes churches in rich neighborhoods. Sometimes the church is bad. Like there's no such thing as a shitty synagogue, right? Like all Jewish synagogues are in nice neighborhoods. And this is where I, kind of clutch. What are you saying? Jewish people have money? Well, Jewish people I know. I don't know any. Do you know any poor Jewish people? I don't know any poor Jewish people. Now, I'm not sitting here saying anything. I'm not. It's an observation. And I would probably say about my observation, obviously they raise children to be a little bit different than a bunch of white trash inbreds. I don't think it's anything magical about the Jewish faith that the money. No, but they are successful people. Very successful people. So I don't think that there are any synagogues that are necessarily in shitty neighborhoods because nobody knows any broke-ass Jews. Members of the synagogue were told via text at 1:30 that lockdown is still in place. The active shooter had been taken down. All kids and all staff are accounted for and fine. The truck rammed into the front door and opened fire. The shooter is dead. A source who had been briefed on the investigation told the Detroit News. Okay, so there we go. That's good. That's all good. So we've had 2 incidents today. We do not know what the details are regarding the Old Dominion shooting. As a matter of fact, I just had to close out the press conference. We don't know what those details are, but that strikes me because it occurred in ROTC. That strikes me that it might have been personal. It might have been, something. He didn't walk into the, library and just start randomly. So, okay. So we'll find out more about that. The only person injured in that, according to early reports, is the perpetrator himself. So there we go. He's gone. And then here we move now to Michigan, West Bloomfield Hills. It looks like there was a temple, a Jewish synagogue that was attacked earlier today. A guy drove his car into the building and then got out and apparently started firing, shot nobody but the building, and he was taken out. Probably, again, going back to there are no synagogues in shitty neighborhoods, and they certainly couldn't be criticized for this. But I imagine that because there is money in these synagogues, I bet you they have great security these days. I bet you that dude who rammed that synagogue had no chance in hell. They probably got 2 former Mossad agents who are like their full-time temple security. These dudes probably make like $200,000 a year. Probably get a free place to live. The congregation probably rented them a house or something. Seriously, man. I would not attack a Jewish temple. I would not attack a Jewish synagogue in 2026 in these times and think that I'm going to be able to get a target because those people, again, they got money for security at those churches. Good for them. Good for them. All right, that's good news there in West Bloomfield Hills. Looks like it's good news. Although it's not. Existentially, it's not good news because it's just another indication that we're on the Jew thing again. Oh, we're fucking with the Jews again. Oh, because of QAnon, because of nuts, because of mental fucking illness. We're fucking with the Jews again. Can we just stop? Can we just leave these people alone? Tucker Carlson's fucking with the Jews. Tucker Carlson is like being roundly by just about everybody, former friends and everything, being called an anti-Semite because Tucker Carlson is Tucker Carlson pro-Palestinian or is he just anti-Israel? Has he just decided that his lane was going to be the opposite pendulum because everybody for years that have come from the right has been pro-Israel. And now, Tucker's probably looking at his streaming venture. And, streaming is not about broadcasting. Broadcasting is called broadcasting because you are broadly casting out your message to anybody that might listen. Streaming is more demographically targeted. We're going for me, 70% normal people, right? That's who I want. I don't give a fuck about anybody else. We are very micro-focused. Tucker, I think, has looked at the right wing sort of, all the spare Fox people who get jettisoned, the ones that don't get jobs in the government, then start streaming. Looking at you, Megyn Kelly. Looking at you, Bill O'Reilly. Looking at you, any other number of former Fox News streamers. So anyway, there is this whole universe. And I think that Tucker decided, not authentically, because there is nothing authentic about Tucker Carlson. Everything, remember, he was a liberal on MSNBC before he became a far-right guy on Fox. And now he hates Israel. So I think that's what his determination was. I think he's like, if I just start saying the absolute opposite about Israel that everybody else is saying, that'll get people to notice me. And I'll maintain my position as Tucker Carlson. I don't know. I think that's a bad. I don't know. I just think I don't know what he's doing. It seems. If I thought it was authentic, then I would be like, he must be stopped. But I don't think he's authentic. I just think he's desperately trying to get clicks. I think he's desperately trying to appeal or grow an audience that has been following him for years. Because that's what happens with people like Tucker Carlson. Hell, to put it on a much lower level, that's what's happening right here with us. When personalities have a long enough career or whatever. I mean, I don't have a good one. Tucker's got a good one. They get what's called pocket listeners. Pocket listeners, man. Look, how many of you in the chat room right now have been with me since 2001? There's a number of you. There is a whole bunch of you some of you were on overnights with us. You people are my pocket listeners, and I love you. And they're called pocket because in the business, they're the listeners that will come with you wherever you go. So back in the old days, if you were on one rock station in town and then you decided to leave and go to the other rock station in town, the new rock station would pay you based on what they perceive to be your pocket listeners, the new listeners that you will drag over. So Tucker's got pocket listeners. He must be trying to grow. And he must, and a pocket listener doesn't care if suddenly he's anti-Israel, because a pocket listener just likes him and understands the full scope and everything that he's about. So I don't know what he's doing, but he's gone very loudly anti-Israel. I'd also like to say this, and I think this is a big problem. I don't see American Jews, like my friends who are Jewish of faith, I don't see them as the same as Israel. I see Israel as a country, as a government, as a very specific country located in a part of the world where it's just surrounded by people who don't want them to be there. So they're a very unique case when it comes to looking at them as an independent nation. I don't look at my friend, my buddy Mitch is Jewish. I don't look at my buddy Mitch like he's an Israeli. He's not. He was born here. He grew up here. So I think that you can be anti-Israel and not be anti-Semitic. And that might be sort of the line that Tucker Carlson is playing with right now. Although I don't know. I don't listen to enough Tucker Carlson. The only thing that I know about Tucker Carlson in this story is what other people have reported about Tucker Carlson. Because I don't, that guy, I didn't like him on MSNBC when he was a stupid bow tie wearing liberal. And he goes over to Fox and all of a sudden he's completely different. And I'm like, oh, he's an evil person. He's just a gamer. That's all he is. He's a pro. He's going to do whatever they tell him to do. He's going to keep cashing those checks. I mean, he is charismatic. He is good. He's good at what he does. I can see why people like him. He's articulate. But I could say these same things about Nick Fuentes. right? Nick Fuentes should scare the shit out of people because I've been seeing a lot more of him. The normalization of Nick Fuentes' worldview is becoming something. He's going on normal people shows now, and that fucker should scare the shit out of people because Nick Fuentes, the more I look at him, I'm like, you want to think of him as some kind of like unfuckable incel, but then you see him and you're like, oh, that dude gets chicks. I'm certain the chicks dig Nick Fuentes. He's not fat. He's not ugly. He's good looking. And he is articulate. Nick Fuentes is not stupid. He's wrong. And I think that he's, just a bad soul. And that's a thing. That's a thing. I don't know how to quantify it or put any specifics on it. But they're just people who are just bad souls. We know them. Nick Fuentes is one of those guys, but he's a bad soul who's articulate and he looks good on camera. And, young, impressionable people are starting to follow him in the way that Charlie Kirk was followed, in the way that Charlie Kirk say the same thing about him. Charlie Kirk was a good-looking young man. He's a good-looking young man. He was very articulate and he was very dialed into what his particular worldview was. Nick Fuentes, the normalization of Nick Fuentes and his hatred of, Jews and all of that, he makes the distinction. He doesn't like Israel or Jews in general. But we're doing it again. We're attacking synagogues. But, okay. As we've determined in this little conversation, Jewish synagogues, they got a lot of money and they're probably hiring really good security who will blow up your fucking head before you even squeeze one off. And that's what looks like happened in West Bloomfield. That's good. All right, now let's talk about the story I teased before we went on that break. This is the story, very interesting story. I wanted to do it yesterday, but I don't know why we got distracted yesterday or something. But it's the story of this general, he's in charge of all of our top secrets. He's like the general. When the military needs to be called in to discuss something that appeared in the sky, this is like the general who they have to answer to. He's in charge of all of this shit. Here's the headline. Search intensifies for retired Air Force general who oversaw facility rumored to house classified UFO material. Let's see. Here he is. Let's show you a picture of him. Well, I should probably tell you his name. William Neal McCaslin. Okay. Major General William Neal McCaslin. Here, I'll show you a picture of him. So we'll look at him. He's missing. We'll tell you the details. And there are so many things that are interesting about this story that we could get into, but there is one thing that pops up in the story I'm about to read to you that I think is going to I'm not going to be able to ignore it, and we're going to have to get into a conversation about it. Okay, so here it is. This is the missing UFO general. This guy has been missing now. Well, we'll get you the full details here. All right. Here we go. It says here the FBI has reportedly joined the search for a missing retired Air Force general who held a number of sensitive positions during his time serving the country. Retired Air Force Major General William Neal McCaslin was last seen at his home in Quail Run Court in Albuquerque, New Mexico on February 27th, according to police. The 68-year-old left his home on foot and has not been seen since. Okay. Right off the top, just on the information that we've been given here, 68 years old, went for a hike in New Mexico, was out in the middle of nowhere, had a massive grabber. He's been eaten by wolves or coyotes or javelinas or whatever they have out there. That's probably what happened. It's Julian Sands. You remember Julian Sands, the actor? Just a couple of years ago. Julian Sands was a famous actor. British guy, you'd know him. Maybe he's one of those that guy actors. You're like, oh, I know that guy. Well, not anymore because he's dead. Because he went hiking in the Hollywood Hills and had a medical emergency, and he was in the middle of nowhere, and nobody found him. And they found him like 6 months later. They found like his body like rolled down a hill or something. Horrible. So that is my first thought about this missing UFO general, William Neal McCaslin, who went missing on February 27th after leaving his house to go on a hike. 68 years old. That's what I think. Do you know, that's the reason I'm still fat. Yeah, let's go with that. I've decided. That's the reason I'm still fat. I used to go running in the woods, in the forest preserves here around where my mom is and where I was living when I was here last time. And South suburban Chicago has amazing forest preserves, just miles and miles of dense forest and animals. And, because it's the 2000s, we've got paths now and hiking trails and all that stuff. So it's very nice. But I used to go about 2 miles deep into the woods on my little fat boy jogs from a couple of years ago. And I used to think often, I'm like, I am in the middle of fucking nowhere. I am in the middle of the wood. Now, granted, I'm on a jogging path, so maybe at some point a guy on a bike might find me or something. But I used to think, if I had a heart attack here, I'm cooked. I am cooked. And that's usually when I'd stop running and walk. Because, it's not because I'm lazy and fat and tired. It's because, I'm being smart, taking care of my body. So that's the first thing that I think of here when I hear the UFO general went missing after leaving the house on a hike. A statement from the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office noted that it was unlike Neil to be out of touch from his family and friends for this length of time. Yeah, it's 27th. I mean, he's completely disappeared, right? Here's a statement now from the Bernalillo County Sheriff. It says, over the last week, investigators at the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office have worked hand in hand with the FBI and other partner agencies and have so far uncovered no evidence of foul play. We are, however, utilizing all possible resources, including advanced technologies, and still considering all possible scenarios as we follow up on leads towards locating Neil. That was a good read. I just read that. I never read that before. I just read that. That was smooth. My God, I should be doing voiceover work. That was smooth. One take Pugs. That's what no one's ever called me. I just called myself that. Let's see if I don't fuck the rest of it up. As of today, despite the collective efforts of law enforcement and the community, we still do not know what happened to Neil after he left home on February the 27th. All right, that's the statement. Beamed up. He got beamed up. He's a UFO guy, got beamed up. That's what people are saying. That's probably not what happened. McCaslin, let's talk about the man himself. The man we're looking at here on the screen. McCaslin's Air Force biography states that he previously served as the commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory at the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. For us UFO dorks, truthers, I'm a truther. For us UFO truthers, we know what that is. That's a real job. That's like a real job. If you are first of all, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, right there. The flags go up, bells and whistles, everything. We're like, that's UFO base. Everyone thinks it's Area 51. It ain't Area 51. That's for tourists. Area 51 is the tourist place. The real place that we UFO truthers believe all of these secrets are being held is Wright-Patterson in Ohio. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and this guy was in charge of research and science. So, do you think the alien technology would fall under his purview? I think so. He was in charge of the Air Force's research laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. He also commanded the Phillips site of Air Force Research Laboratory at Kirtland. That's another big one. Kirtland is where supposedly they have reverse engineered. Kirtland Air Force Base is where they supposedly reverse engineered an actual UFO and fly it around. And that's why in that part of the country, there's all kinds of UFO sightings and people say, oh, it's because of Kirtland. They got one. They're just cruising around. Yeah. So Wright-Patterson, Kirtland, and let's see what else this guy was doing. He also, let's see here. He commanded the Phillips site of Air Force Research Laboratory at Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico. Also oversaw space weapons programs during his time at the Pentagon. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base noted for being rumored to house the debris from alleged UFO recovery. Wright-Patterson is alleged to be where the Roswell stuff is. All right, that's what it says. After bragging about how great of a reader I was. Experts, however, are not convinced that his disappearance is related to his work with the Air Force. Now, this is where it gets interesting. This man is missing. He is 68 years old, and he's missing. He went out for a walk, and he never came back. This is the statement from the wife. In a statement, McCaslin's wife, Susan McCaslin, said, this is the wife. Remember, her husband she ain't seen her husband since the 27th. He left, he didn't come back. Here's what the wife says. FBI's involved. Here's what the wife says. Bill does not have any special knowledge about the ET bodies and debris from the Roswell crash that are stored there at Wright-Pat. Wright-Pat. She calls it Wright-Pat because, she was the wife of the general. They use the very familiar non-Wright-Patterson. It's Wright-Pat. So she's saying he doesn't know anything about the ET and all that stuff that's there at Wright-Pat. That's there, or that's supposedly there at Wright-Pat. She goes on to say, though at this point, with absolutely no sign of him, Maybe the best hypothesis is that aliens beamed him up to the mothership. However, no sightings of a mothership hovering above the Sandia Mountains have been reported, the wife said. I'm going to read it again. Her husband has been missing since the 27th. She's asked about your husband is missing, and she said Bill doesn't have any special knowledge about ETs and debris from the Roswell crash that are stored there, right, Pat? Though at this point, with absolutely no sign of them, maybe the best hypothesis is that the aliens beamed him up into the mothership. However, there have been no sightings of a mothership hovering above the Sandia Mountains. Can I get you guys some lemonade? Are you guys the fuck? What the fuck? Now, if this was a missing woman and the husband was cracking jokes to the FBI, you would be like, that's suspect number one. Seriously. Now, I know there's a lot more fun things to talk about here, like U2s, UFOs, and, this guy's role and all. No, what's going on with this wife? This is fucked up. Like, how? I mean, he better be dead. Could you imagine here? This is how you've been missing for 10 days. And this is almost 14 now. Actually, I think it is 14 now, right? It's 2 weeks. So anyway, you've been missing for 2 weeks and your wife is telling jokes. I always get twisted. Not twisted. I mean, look, walk a mile in their shoes, right? Before you're critical of it. But have you ever seen, and again, bit of an emotional change, but have you ever seen like somebody whose child was just killed or something terrible has happened, like their mother was just murdered in a Target shooting or something, and you see these people being interviewed on the news like hours later? Let's go now to the mother of the young boy who was. How do these people even give interviews? Every time I see this, I'm like, I'm not going on TV. I would not be in any kind of, and I'm good at handling my emotions. I've been in therapy for years. I know how to process and I know how to control and throw a saddle on them and ride them and not let them ride me, right? And even I would be like, I wouldn't go on fucking Anderson Cooper to talk about my kid that's missing or my kid that's dead. I don't know how they do it. So this woman, her husband's been missing for 14 days. She's making public statements to the press that, what? Chat room, am I crazy? Or is that a little bit, this man's wife doesn't love him. That's what I'm going with. Hold on. See how long it takes for me to just move the chat room? Yeah, it's like threading a needle. It's threading a needle. Because you got to hover. I got to click. I got to hover on something that is right next to something else, and they're both tiny. Okay. All right. Apparently the story is no commentary from the chat room on this story. Absolutely nobody gives a shit about his wife saying that. Okay, I thought that would trigger you. All right, I thought maybe we'd get some takes. We'll move on. That's it. He's still missing. My theory is that he went for a hike and he died. There you go. That's it. Peter Begonia. Yeah. I don't want to spoil anything for you. If you haven't seen I love Begonia. Begonia is about a crazy guy and his, half-tard cousin who convinced themselves that this big tech CEO, this big world-famous billionaire tech CEO played by Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons and his half-tard brother or cousin or something, they convinced themselves that Emma Stone is actually an alien from another planet sent here to conquer us. So they kidnap her and they start interrogating her. And no spoilers, but yeah, I got you, Peter. Wink, wink. You know. Mama B says maybe she's not joking. Again, the wife is cracking jokes. Okay. No, Mama B, she's joking. Come on. She's joking. It's just weird. Dobler has a great point. Dobler here, I wanted to get into this because this is something that I was going to mention. She says maybe it's gallows humor from being a general's wife. That's a great observation, man. Because I thought that too, because I am somebody who really relies on gallows humor. Gallows humor is trying to lighten an otherwise really dark and sad situation with some levity. We're not Gallagher smashing watermelons, at the funeral, but it's a different kind of. And I thought about that too. I thought maybe she's. I don't know. But gallows humor is a thing, and maybe that's what she was going for. And maybe if I had seen her say it, so you get the facial expressions and the body movement and all that, maybe then it becomes more clear what she meant. But just reading it just sounds really bad. Really bad. All right, Peter says I love it. Says he won't. Don't give away the. I won't give away the ending. No spoilers. I love Begonia. I love that movie. He says that the Capro movie was good last year. Also, Oscars are Sunday. Tomorrow you can talk about noms. Well, today we're going to talk about the Oscars. We do have some Oscars talk. Yeah, he's the Leonardo DiCaprio movie he's talking about is One Battle After Another, a movie that cost less than Kristi Noem's Ice Super Bowl commercial, which I don't know how an Ice Super Bowl commercial. Look, I understand the Super Bowl commercials are expensive, but the production values on that thing were, 100,000 max. And then where are you putting the crew up? Are you putting the crew up at the Trump resort and not getting a discount, like paying full boat? I don't know. But yeah, the Oscars are Sunday. So let's talk about the Oscars a little bit, because they've made the final announcement on who all of the people at the Oscars that are going to be doing the introductions. Where are they? Did I skip over my Oscar story? Active shooter, people not paying taxes, UFO. Oh, here's the Oscar story. All right, we'll do this. That's it, the Oscar story. I wanted to do the Barry Diller thing first because, he's an Oscar guy. But since it was brought up in the chat room, so the Oscars are on Sunday. I'll be doing my picks for the main categories tomorrow. I already did them when the nominees came out, but I've now seen a lot more of the movies, like that Sentimental Value movie. Rose Burns, If I Had Legs, That Would Kick You. I've seen a whole bunch of these. I didn't like any of them. And if I'm being honest, I didn't make it through any of them. I made it through Begonia. I made it through One Battle After Another. I made it through Blue Moon. I made it through, Hamnet. I got to watch Hamnet. I love Shakespeare. I took all the Shakespeare classes in high school, and then in college I had a couple of Shakespeare classes. I love Shakespeare. Because as somebody who likes to tell stories and who likes to write stories, Shakespeare wrote them all. Shakespeare wrote every template for every story that has ever been told. And once you understand that, it makes writing even easier, because Shakespeare was out there like 500 years ago actually giving you a cheat sheet to like write really good things. Which, by the way, let me mention this. Speaking of cheat sheets and being able to like copy what somebody else has done, you guys, I watched a movie last night and I didn't get all the way through it. And I don't think I'm going to go back to it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think that I'm a guy's guy, right? I like cars. I like things blowing up. I love sports. Chicks. I'm still crazy about that. I am so horny lately. I know that that's apropos of nothing. My point is this. I can't see a girl on TV and not immediately, and just not immediately go, okay. I don't know what's wrong with me. Well, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm a heterosexual. Do men have like what women go through, like in menopause or whatever, where they just get really horny and stuff? Is that like something guys go through, or we just kind of always stay horny? I don't know. Anyway, I have an elevated level of attraction to women at the moment, and can't explain it. What was my point? My point was, so I'm watching this movie, And it should be a movie that a guy's guy would want to watch. And, I like a lot of these kinds of movies. And this movie is being buzzed about to some extent. So I watched it. It's the dumbest fucking movie. This movie was so stupid. All right, guys, here it is. Call me a chick if you want. But, there's this new movie, War Machine. Have you seen it? Like, everything about it seems really cool. I'm like, yeah, just fucking watch War Machine, motherfucker. We're at war. Let's go, right? God, it's dumb. Still, it stars that guy from Reacher, Alan. It's not Alan Rickman, but it's something like that. Like Alan, maybe it's Alan Richman, whom I like. I like Reacher. I thought that was a good show, or at least the few episodes I watched. I didn't really adopt to it the way I did with Succession or other things, but I like that show. I was like, okay, that guy's got something. I think maybe he could be a movie star, right? A little bit looks like John Cena if John Cena was having a really bad day. That's kind of how I look at this guy. So he's the star of it, and I kind of like him. And I'm like, okay, so let's watch War Machine. Oh my God, it was so dumb, you guys. It's so dumb. What I was just telling you about Shakespeare, how writers for years have been, familiarizing themselves with the works of Shakespeare and recognizing that there's a cheat sheet there to tell a story. You can, whatever kind of story that you want. Shakespeare did it. He did them all, laid the groundwork and the templates for all the writers that came after him. This movie was just, here's what War Machine is. And I recognized it very early on. War Machine is just a collection of scenes from other alpha male guy war movies that are just cobbled together to make a story that makes no sense. And it's just dumb. I'll give you an example. The very first opening scene is, here's the setting. It's the road to Kandahar about 20 years ago. So it's during the Iran-Afghanistan war. And it's the road to Kandahar. And one group of American military unit or convoy has broken down, clogging the road to Kandahar because, the shit equipment and the goddamn Pentagon and, all of the trite tropes that we hear in these movies. So this convoy is broken down. Now there's another convoy approaching. Another American convoy, so it's not hostiles. So the other convoy is approaching, and now the other convoy can't get past because his first convoy is clogged up the road. So, of course, the dude who runs the approaching convoy, he gets out of the truck. He's in a bad mood, and he's walking through all the other guys who are in the other unit who are working on the truck, and he's like, what the goddamn hell is going on here? Get this shit off the road. What kind of bullshit company are you running here? Where's your CO? And then, of course, the CO shows up, the other CO of the broken down car, and he starts charging at him. And he's like, you motherfucker, how dare you talk to me like that? And they're like getting into it. I'm watching this. I'm going, they're best friends. I've seen this scene a fucking million times. They're best friends. Well, they were brothers. They turned out to be brothers. And of course, all the collective military guys all laugh. They knew each other the whole time. And I'm like, oh, that's what this movie's going to be. It's just going to be one fucking scene that we've seen a million times before in other movies. There you go. There's my review of War Machine, a film that absolutely is never going to be mentioned in the same breath as the Oscars. But the Oscars are on Sunday. I don't give a shit about the Oscars anymore. I used to. I used to love the Oscars. I mean, back when we had 3 channels and, it was interesting. It was like a special TV event. So, yeah, there was a time in my life where I would say the Super Bowl and the Oscars are probably like the 2 biggest TV nights of my life. I used to have Oscar parties. My first wife and I used to throw these Oscar parties. People would come over and, be fun. I haven't seen the Oscars in years. You know why? I think the internet ruined the Oscars for me. Social media certainly has ruined the internet for me because, or news or live television for me. But I have no interest in the Oscars. I'll tell you this. The Screen Actors Guild Awards were 2 weeks ago. The SAG Awards, traditionally the SAG Awards. They're now called The Actors. They changed the name. They changed the name of the Screen Actors Award. Screen Actors Guild Award I always enjoyed because it was just about the celebrities. It was just about the actors. And they had an award for Best Cast, which the Oscars don't have, which the Oscars should do. There should be an award for the best ensemble. The casting director who put together the absolute killer crew and cast, that should be an award, but it's not. And it is with the Screen Actors Guild Awards, or the actors. But the actors, hosted by Kristen Bell this year, who I love, have been just staring at me on Netflix for like 2 weeks because it's on Netflix now. I guess Netflix aired it live. But I'm scrolling through and I see the actors and I'm like, oh, I want to watch that. And then I'm like, oh, but it's 2026 and I don't watch dumbass award shows anymore. So I haven't been able to watch it. But the Oscars are on Sunday. Now, Barry in the lead. Yes, this is a very, very heavily secured Oscars. And there are a number of people who have already said that they will not be attending this year's Oscars just simply because they don't want to put up with the security checks. They don't want this. You know what I mean? It's going to because of where we are. We're in a war. We've got serious terror concerns these days. So because of all of this, there's a number of people who aren't going. But the Oscars have made a decision that's got a lot of people in Hollywood going, what are they doing? The Oscars have essentially, for the first time in the history of the award show, decided that old Hollywood or legacy Hollywood is not welcome. Nicole Kidman is apparently the oldest and longest star that is going to be on the presentation. She's awarding with somebody. Tom Cruise, not invited to present. Brad Pitt, not invited, don't want him. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Harrison Ford, you name them. Meryl Streep, you name them. Sally Field. No, none of them are being invited to participate. And it's the first time that this has happened. It says final Oscar presenters list include no surprises. Like it was rumored because Nicole Kidman was one of the first people who were mentioned. And I don't follow these things. It's in the story here. But it was rumored that there would be a big surprise because there's oftentimes a big surprise. The big rumor early couple of weeks back was that Chris Rock and Will Smith were going to present together. Now, if that is in fact a surprise, they probably wouldn't publicize it beforehand, but apparently no. The Oscars have said, no, we're not doing any of that stuff because people thought that Nicole Kidman would present with Tom Cruise. They thought that would be the stunt presentation. Now, welcome Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise, right? They were married. There was like weirdness between them. So that would be a reason that people would tune in. Will Smith and Chris Rock, that would be a reason that people would tune in. The Oscars have traditionally done these kinds of things. By the way, goes all the way back to Chris Rock, getting slapped by Will Smith. I didn't see that live. If that was in 1999, I would have seen it live. I'd have been like, I didn't see that live. I saw that a couple hours later when I was on Twitter and they're like, look what happened at the Oscars. And I'm like, oh, that's right. I don't watch the Oscars anymore. That was on tonight. So no big surprises and no legacy stars or quote Hollywood royalty. The major concentration is on Hollywood under 50 this year. Well, fuck you. It says this Sunday's Oscar presentations, this Sunday's Oscar presenters are mostly 50 or under. Believe it or not, the biggest name and the oldest on the list is Nicole Kidman, who I still think of as a youngster, this writer opines. No Sally Field, no Michael Douglas, Dustin Hoffman, Jane Fonda, Shirley MacLaine, Harrison Ford, Morgan Freeman, Denzel Washington, Halle Berry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In other words, no big legacy Hollywood stars and no one from Hollywood hierarchy. Don't get me wrong. Again, this is an opinion piece I'm reading, so please don't get me wrong. These are all great people, but there's no buzz here, not even a mention of Tom Cruise, who received a governor's award just a few months ago and was rumored to be a secret presenter with Nicole Kidman for Best Picture. See? There it is. I mentioned that. A new round of Oscar presenters this Sunday include Rose Byrne. I love her. I love Rose Byrne so much. It's the only reason that I watch that. If I have legs, I'd kill you, kick you. If I had legs, I'd kick you. And by the way, it's not about a woman with no legs. It's just, don't get distracted. It's not like My Left Foot or anything. It's just, anyway, she's really good in that. And I would love to see her win an Oscar because she has been sneaky awesome in everything. And when you know the filmography of Rose Byrne, you know that she's a triple threat. You know that she can play real serious hardcore drama like what she's nominated for in Best Actress this year. Or she can do crazy comedy. She's really funny, whether she's teaming with Seth Rogen for what was it, Neighbors or something, what she did. She was in that Get Him to the Greek. She played Russell Brand's idiotic English pop star girlfriend. She was really funny. I mean, she is super talented, and I just find her to be hypnotically beautiful. I just think Rose Byrne is so beautiful and so good. All right, so these are some of the new people who they'll be including and focusing on at this year's Oscars. Rose Byrne, Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel's my age. Nicole Kidman can't be. Is Nicole Kidman older than me? Anyway, Rose Byrne, Jimmy Kimmel. Delroy Lindo is 60. What the fuck is this article? Delroy Lindo is like 60. Fucking Hollywood. How old is Delroy Lindo?
73 years old.
Fuck you! Fuck you! This whole story is well, he's not super famous though. Maybe that's the caveat. Maybe it's not necessarily ageism. It's just about focusing on actors who are rising now. And he happens to be rising at 73. Good for him. He's great. Delroy Lindo is awesome in everything. He's one of them that guy actors who, that's good that he's getting a little bit of love. Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor is over 50. Wagner Moura. Pablo Escobar from Narcos. He's really good too. But does he speak English? I really got into him. Wagner Moura. It's supposed to say Wagner. I said W. It's Wagner Moura, but it's supposed to be Wagner Moura. Wagner Moura. He didn't speak any English in Narcos, right? It was all like, Colombian. He was all, what's Colombian? Well, I guess it's Spanish. Who are the ones down there that decided they were going to go with a different language? Portuguese. Who is it? Is that Brazil? Is it the Brazilians who are like, we don't speak Spanish, we speak Portuguese? Totally different. All right, good job, guys. You've completely aced yourself out of being able to communicate with your neighbors. Anyway, point is this. Let's go back to the list. Delroy Lindo, Ewan McGregor, Wagner Moura, who's like 50-something, Pedro Pascal, who's got to be close to 50, Bill Pullman, who's older than me, Lewis Pullman, is that his kid? Channing Tatum, and Sigourney Weaver. These are all, this whole article is about, there's nobody over 50. They're just concentrating on young people. And I just listed you a bunch of names of presenters who are all over 50. Sigourney Weaver's in her 60s. Bill Pullman is 60. Pedro Pascal is 50-something. How old is Pedro Pascal?
Pedro Pascal is 50 years old.
50! He's 50! How old is Bill Pullman? Oh, you're not going to tell us? 72. 72. All right, whatever. These announced names join the already announced. Okay, so those were the new ones that they added in, and they're all old. And the point of this article is that nobody from Hollywood's old school are invited. And then I just gave you like 10 names of people. Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver is... All right, so here's some of the other ones who have been named that are going to... Let's maybe these ones are younger. Will Arnett. Nope. Nope. Not under 50. How old is Will Arnett?
55 years old.
55 years old. He's my age. Will Arnett. All right, maybe it'll get younger from here. Adrian Brody. Again, he's not 20. How old is Adrian Brody?
52 years old.
52. All right, another one. You guys are watching. This is what I should pre-read. I would have not done this story if it turned out. All right. Will Arnett, 55. Adrian Brody, 52, I think. Javier Bardem. How old is Javier Bardem?
Javier Bardem is 57 years old.
57! 57! All right, well, we'll get into some younger ones here. How about, all right, here we go. How old is Robert Downey Jr.?
60 years old.
Okay, all right. Fuck you, Hollywood. They're just going with young people. Look, here's a list of presenters. None of these people are young. How did you write this story? Is this AI? All right, who else do we got? Anne Hathaway, Chase Infinity, Mikey Madison, last year's Best Actress. I like her. Paul Mescal, Demi Moore. Said Nicole Kidman was the oldest. Who's older, Demi Moore or Nicole Kidman? Demi Moore. Demi Moore is 5 years older than Nicole Kidman. Fuck it. All right. Anyway, the Oscars are on Saturday. They're trying to make a case that it's about ageism. And they did what? They're pissed because what? Dustin Hoffman and Meryl Streep aren't there? Come on. That's dumb. All right. Let's talk about Barry Diller. Barry Diller is a very interesting guy. I've always enjoyed Barry Diller as a media mogul because unlike a lot of the other guys, Barry Diller is a programmer. Barry Diller is about the content. He also sits in the big chair and does the big meetings with the money and all that kind of stuff. But in almost every other case, when it concerns a media mogul who sits atop an empire, they're never programmers. They hire people to be the programmers, right? Not in the case of Barry Diller, which is kind of unique. Barry Diller began, great story. He began as the quintessential Hollywood William Morris mailroom kid. And the legend is that, and there've been stories we've seen this story in films and in TV shows and plot lines where it concerns people on the come in Hollywood. They use Barry Diller's actual story. Barry Diller, when he was a kid in the mailroom, used to stay late, like way into the middle of the night, going through all the mail for everybody, like knew everything from the mailroom. And because of that, he was elevated almost instantly out of the mailroom into the assistant's job for Leonard Goldberg. Now, if you know TV, you know the name Leonard Goldberg because he ran ABC. He was in charge of, anointing Gary Marshall as the king of ABC with Happy Days and Mork and Mindy and Laverne and Shirley and then Aaron Spelling with Love Boat. That's who Leonard Goldman is. And Barry Diller, starting in 1964, became his assistant. Barry Diller then very quickly ascended to the top job at Paramount, which became the parent company of ABC. He ran Paramount until the 80s. Then he left Paramount to go into business with Rupert Murdoch. It was Barry Diller who convinced Rupert Murdoch that there was room for a third network, thus the birth of Fox. He ran Fox. Again, see, this is a money guy. He's a billionaire, but he's also the guy who goes to the other billionaires and says, look, this is why we need to create a new network. He understood the business. Anyway, Barry Diller's been in charge of a whole bunch of things, created a whole bunch of movies, executive produced, got Oscars for like Saturday Night Fever and like all of these things. Anyway, he's a big deal. He's also old now, and he's sort of one of the rabbis to these younger billionaires, the Zuckerbergs and even, Musk to some extent, and certainly Jeff Bezos, because Barry Diller is much older than these guys. But when these guys got their money, they started, looking for advice and talking to people. And, Warren Buffett is also known as one of these guys who kind of sits there and these young billionaires gather. Trump always wanted to be that guy, but Trump was never that guy. But certainly Barry Diller is. So here is Barry Diller. He sat down and he does interviews very rarely, like deep, in-depth interviews, because he's kind of a quiet, secret guy, because he's probably gay, but married to Diane Furstenberg. So it's always been very private. Bisexual. I think in his book, he put a book out last year that I haven't read that I would love to read, but apparently he talks openly about, I dabbled. I was a little bit of a, swing both ways for a while. There was a lot of cocaine in the 80s. We were doing things. Anyway, he sat down and he was asked a direct question about his friend Jeff Bezos. And the question was, why is Jeff Bezos seemingly simping for Trump? And Barry Diller is absolutely not a Trump guy. Barry Diller was the secret guy behind Obama's rise. Barry Diller is a very big backer of the Democratic Party, but he also has the ear of and lends his ear to other people, namely Jeff Bezos in this situation. Jeff Bezos has been roundly criticized by a lot of people for the way he's been running the Washington Post under the Trump administration and the way he seems to be coddling Trump on a whole bunch of issues as it relates to Amazon and stuff like that. He's backing down from challenges. And of course, there's Blue Origin, which is his space company, which is heavily dependent on federal grants and funding and all that kind of stuff. So there's a whole bunch of reasons why people are thinking that Jeff Bezos may be behaving very out of character for him. And certainly his friends have noticed. So Barry Diller was asked directly, what's going on with Bezos? Why did he produce that Melania movie? And Barry Diller, because he's here. Hold on. Oh, fuck me. All right, hold on. I'm sorry. I'll find it. I got it right here. It's a dead link. The link that I just went to is a dead link. That's okay. It's okay. I've got it. Don't you worry. Just go to the original. It's not a problem. Yeah. Okay. Here it is. Good. Hold on. Now we gotta wait for the ad. I didn't want to pull this off YouTube, but whatever. It's where the original was, so we're good with it. All right. Here we go. This is Barry Diller again. One of these guys, super old, no fucks to give anymore. He's just talking. He's worth more money than God, so he didn't really give a shit. Here's Barry Diller answering the question: why is your very good friend Jeff Bezos coddling and sucking up to the Trump administration? Here it is. All right, let's watch a little bit of this.
Bezos is wanting to be on the good side of it today. It is true.
Hold on.
I hope it means this is get the contract.
Fuck. All right, let's just watch.
What do you make of the tech companies' embrace of President Trump?
Oh my God. Oh no, not oh my God. It's necessity. I don't, a lot of these people are my very close friends, and I've had to defend them.
Really?
Yeah, and I do defend them, and I do it for this reason. If your business depends upon government contracts, and you, with this particular administration, are not that friend, or not a friend, or you're an enemy, you are not going to get the contract. It's very binary. This is unheard of. I mean, we're passing through this moment in history, which I hope it means we are passing through it and will come to the other end of it. But that is the condition of life today. It is true. And therefore, if that's what you do, I find no moral depredation in your wanting to be on the good side of it.
Because I was going to say you're buddies with Jeff Bezos.
Well, I'm friendly with many people, and I definitely, Mr. Bezos is, he's...
What do you think when you see the amount spent on the Melania duck?
Well, what do I think? I don't advocate it. I don't know that he was involved in it, by the way, and I think he's actually, or I think people have said he was not involved in that decision. Nevertheless, it's his company, so he's responsible for it. But again, look at his situation. He's in competition with Elon Musk in SpaceX, right? That's his competitor. Elon Musk is very, except for a moment, aligned with this administration. He's got Blue Origin trying desperately to compete to be at least the second player in that. How do you go against the government of the United States when you know that government, if you're not supportive of it, is going to deny you being able to be in business? Of course he has to do that. There's no moral judgment.
Independent of politics, you once said Bezos is closer to Steve Jobs than most people give him credit for. How so?
Because he's so much the real deal. I mean, this is someone who, and you think of starting a business on books.
All right.
who
Well, we
built
don't need
this
any more. We don't need to
Amazon
be
that's
slurping Jeff Bezos. But I thought that was interesting because that's sort of the quiet part out loud. And you only get that from a 90-year-old billionaire who doesn't give a fuck anymore. Is deciding he's going to tell everybody what the playbook is. Jeff Bezos, this is all about Blue Origin. Yeah, this Melania movie, $75 million was put up there for the production of the Melania movie, which, by the way, is like 1/3 the cost of Kristi Noem's commercials. Guys, the scope of the corruption with Kristi Noem and that shit, I swear to God, just you got to frame it that way. You got to keep saying the Melania movie, which was very expensive, and people were like, 75 million? Kristi Noem's little 1-minute commercial cost 3 times that. You voted for it. You did. And you can't say you didn't, because we all told you that this is exactly what's happening. But no, you voted for it. Enjoy your war. All right. I love an old guy who's just gonna like not bullshit you and tell you exactly what's going on. Yeah, he's kissing Trump's ass because Trump is the kind of guy you need to kiss his ass, and he happens to be in a business that is. And I will say this because you almost wince, right? Like if it was a supermarket that Jeff Bezos was running and he was in competition with Elon Musk for, you would be like, okay, so you're going to basically compromise your principles and you're going to kiss ass because of a supermarket war. But this is space. It's a little different. The idea of what comes next. This is the business of the super billionaire who can dream about the world of tomorrow. Musk is doing it. Branson is doing it. Bezos is doing it. And that's good. It's good. I think, as a space guy, I think that's good that these people are doing it because our government stopped doing it, because we, the people, stop supporting it. And just because we stop supporting it or stop understanding the importance of some scientific endeavor doesn't mean that we stop. Okay. So the billionaires stepped in and now the billionaires are like, no. We got to keep moving forward. There is no reason, no logical or acceptable reason that we just stopped after going to the moon. There's just not. Other than the American people were like, my tax dollars, That's what happened. So you've got this situation where it isn't a supermarket. It's a real important world shape shifting future of tomorrow kind of endeavor. And I think what I took from Barry Diller saying is that Jeff Bezos is playing a long game. He understands that he's got to do this for a couple of years. He's got to get through this because if he plays it wrong, Blue Origin goes down and all of the billions that they've invested so far is just in the wind and Elon will get everything. And it can't just be one guy doing it. I'm sorry, but there can't just be Coca-Cola. There must be a Pepsi. And that is sort of what he's saying. He's like, look, he just wants to be the Pepsi. And if he's got to produce a fucking movie for the dude's wife in order to get on his good side, then I thought that was very interesting. There's also the whole interview is great. I watched the whole thing last night. But there's also a chunk that I wanted to play for you about him trying to buy CNN. He desperately wants to buy CNN. And he's got some really interesting takes on it. He doesn't believe he will. He thinks that ship has sailed, but he is putting it out there publicly that they should come to him as an outlier because he wants to buy CNN alone. He doesn't want all of the Warner Brothers Discovery nonsense that comes with it. He doesn't want HBO Max. He doesn't want Discovery Channel, right? He just wants to run, in the interview, he says he just wants to run CNN the way Ted Turner ran it, as a global news station, not an American political station. And I'm like, yeah, Barry, get CNN. Let's go back to covering news, giving us news, not just politics. Politics isn't news. Politics is how the sausage is made. News is the attack on the temple in Michigan. News is what happened at Old Dominion. News is stuff exploding in the Straits of Hormuz. That's news. What isn't news is, I don't like Trump. What do you think? Well, I like Trump. Well, I think you're wrong. Well, I think you're wrong. That's what fucking news has become in this country, and that is not information. That is fucking endorphin-inducing bullshit. So I thought it was interesting, Barry Diller's takes on CNN and what he would want to do with it. Thought that was interesting. Anyway, Barry Diller sat down and gave a rare interview. Old man with a big pile of money with no shits to give. Let's see. Let's talk about the New York Giants. Yeah. Okay, so the New York Giants, first of all, F the G-men. I hate the Giants, not because I'm a Cowboy fan, but just because I've always hated the Giants. I just always thought that the Giants were just like, the Giants are a team. The New York Football Giants are a team that seems to walk around like they're the football equivalent of their neighbors, the Yankees. They are not the Yankees of football. I don't know who the New York Giants. Well, the New York Football Giants. When was the last time you guys won anything? 1988. You're no better than Chicago or Dallas. Who do you think you are? Actually, when was the last time the Giants won? They beat the Patriots like 15 years ago, right? The helmet catch, David Terrell. Yeah. All right. Anyway, the New York Giants are in a little bit of a panic these days because, oh my God, the Epstein files have revealed some things about New York Giants ownership. Yeah. So I didn't realize this. If you were to ask me before I read this story here about the ownership issues going on with the New York Giants, if you had asked me who owns the New York Giants, I would have told you the Mara family. I just said the Mara family, actress Rooney Mara and who's the other one? Kate and Rooney Mara, the Mara family. They're one of the founding families, the Hallises, the Maras, the Rooneys, one of the founding families of, the old NFL. Oh, by the way, the Maras and the Rooneys are married together. Did you guys know that? Yeah. The actresses, Kate and Rooney Mara? I think Kate was in, what was that Kevin Spacey show on Netflix? House of Cards. Kate was the star. She played Zoe. She was the reporter. That's Kate Mara. And then the other Mara, Rooney Mara, she does more like art house stuff. Anyway, she's famous too. Is she the girl with the dragon tattoo? Is that her? Maybe. Anyway, you know that both of their middle names are Rooney? It's Kate Rooney Mara and never mind. No, Kate Rooney Mara and then Rooney, whatever. The point is this. Those two chicks, those two actresses, one set of their grandparents owned the New York Giants and the other set of their grandparents owned the Pittsburgh Steelers. How cool is that? That's pretty cool. All right, so I always thought the Maras were the sole owners of the New York Giants, but it turns out they're equal partners. The Maras own 45% of the team, and Steve Tisch of the Lowe's Corporation, the very prominent New York family, the Tisch family, the Tisch School, Lowe's Hotels, Lowe's Resorts, Lowe's Real Estate, Lowe's Movie Theaters, Lowe's Production. Steve Tisch, he's the guy. Oh, the police commissioner of New York City. Every time we see something happen in New York, we've got that redheaded girl who comes out. That's Jessica Tisch. She's another one of the Tisches. She's Steve Tisch's niece, I think, or maybe cousin. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Point is this. Steve Tisch and the Tisch family own 45% of the New York Giants. Apparently, they bought in back in the 90s. The Maras needed a little bit of scratch, so they sold. So the Maras own 45, and the Tisches own 45 of the Giants. And then there's 10% that are minority holders. So here's the problem. Steve Tisch is all over the Epstein files. He's just... So look at what these bullshitters are doing. There is no real issue right now because I don't think Steve Tisch has been implicated in anything necessarily horrendous other than just, he did business with Epstein. But the New York Giants are trying to move their ownership stakes around because they're afraid that they will be sued by victims of Jeffrey Epstein. Again, this is preemptive, which leads me to believe that Steve Tisch is like, the bad stuff hasn't come out yet. So why are they trying to do this now? Steve Tisch and the Tisch family are trying to move his shares. Steve Tisch, who owns 45%. Steve Tisch is trying to move his ownership stake in the Giants to the possession of his children, just while this whole Epstein thing blows over. We should be really angry at this. This is one of those rich fucking guy loopholes. He's like, I might have molested kids, but they'll never get my money. I'm going to move some things around. Here's the story. A group of New York Giant owners have requested approval to move their remaining stakes of the team to their children in light of information revealed in the Jeffrey Epstein files. Shortly after, this is the great thing about being a Chicago Bear fan, that the Hallis family would never be involved in anything like this. The Hallis family are weirdos. They're weirdos. They don't have any friends. They're like old billionaire people who just like live in their house and go to church. They're like real hardcore Catholic. They're weird. They're creepy. They're weird. I'm sorry if you know anything about George McCaskey or any of the McCaskey Hallises. They're just weird. Odd people. I don't know that George Hallis. I don't know he was odd. I don't think Virginia was odd, other than the fact that, how can you not be odd if you're 100 years old, right? So she was odd because she was an old lady from a different time. But no, the kids are very odd. The Maras are cool. They got kids who are Hollywood stars, and they have parties and they're in the news. Not the Hallises. They're nerds. They're like weird, creepy nerds. So the good news is that they'll never be embroiled in something like this. But Steve Tisch sure is. It says here, Epstein had spoken extensively with Giants owner Steve Tisch. A report from The Athletic analyzed countless correspondences between the two and concluded that their conversations were entirely about women. Oh, The Athletic. All right. So the other story, this is a newer one from Mediaite. So the other story that I read was that, Steve Tisch was mentioned in business dealings. Apparently The Athletic got involved, rolled up their sleeves, and they are claiming now, The Athletic, that Steve Tisch's conversations with Jeffrey Epstein were almost entirely about, now I'm sorry, not even almost. Get rid of the word almost. Here's how it's written. The Athletic analyzed countless correspondences between the two, Steve Tisch, Giants owner, and Jeffrey Epstein, and concluded that their conversations were entirely about women. More specifically, Epstein would offer women to Tisch. On at least 2 occasions, Tisch allegedly made unwanted advances towards women. Okay, stop. What is that? Are they related? Here's the full sentence. Capital M. More specifically, comma, Epstein would offer women to Tisch. Period. New sentence. On at least 2 occasions, comma, Tisch allegedly made unwanted advances on the women. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is, are they saying that Epstein introduced women to Tisch and then Tisch made unwanted advances on these women, or that Tisch in the past has been accused of making I don't know, whatever. It sounds like this is bad for Steve Tisch. Tisch said in a statement that his association with Epstein was brief and that he, quote, did not take him up on any of his invitations and never went to his island. That's the staple response from these people. Never went to the island. How about the ranch? How about the townhome? Been on the plane? There are plenty of other places where shit was going on, man. You don't have to have just gone to the island, especially if you were as close to him as you appear to have been. The island is for people he's trying to impress. No, Steve, you were walking up to his townhouse there on Central Park West and just walking in. Tisch said in a statement that his association with Epstein was brief and that he did not take him up on any of his invitations and never went to the island. He added that Epstein, quote, was a terrible person and someone I deeply regret associating with. There's the programming. That's what he's been programmed to say. Terrible person. Good friend. Good guy for about 10 years of my life, but now terrible person. On Wednesday, The Athletic obtained a memo in which Tisch, along with his siblings, Jonathan Tisch and Laurie Tisch, requested approval from the NFL's Finance Committee to transfer their ownership stakes into trusts for their children. The Tisch family owns approximately 45, we went through those numbers. If approved, the sellers will no longer own any interest in the Giants. However, the ownership transfer may not signal a substantive change in the team's operation. A Giants spokesperson characterizes Steve Tisch's involvement with the team moving forward as status quo. So Steve Tisch is still going to be able to walk around. Yeah, I'm the owner of the Giants, right? None of that shit changes. By the way, Steve Tisch doesn't do anything as far as football operations. The Maras are still the football family. They've been the football family. They founded the Giants. The president of football is still a Mara, but Steve Tisch, he's got the money and probably an office. All right, there you have it. So who knows if the NFL is going to allow them to do that? The NFL shouldn't allow them to do that, right? The NFL should be like, what? We know why you're doing this. No, we don't want any part of this. Just no. You still own it. Let's just see what happens. All right, let's talk about baby names. I like this. We talk about baby names a lot because over the last 20 years or so, we have decided that all of the normal people names are no more. That's right. I asked at the start of the show, when was the last time you met someone named Jim? It's a baby named Jim. This is our baby. What's his name? Jim. This is our daughter. What's her name? Jill. Karen, that's dead. Karen's a dead name. I feel bad if you're walking around named Karen. Like, what if you're like 18 and your name is Karen? What if you were the last person named Karen? It's not good. It's not good. All right, so let's go through this list. These are a list of names that are going extinct. These are names that have seen the most significant drop in the yearly list of most popular baby names. So this comes to us from Newsweek. It says list of baby names that risk of going extinct in 2026. Let's see, where are the names? Researchers analyzed the names in its top 1,000 most popular baby names and saw the biggest year-over-year declines using information from parents who registered babies from 2025 through 20. Okay, blah, blah, blah. All right, girls' names. These are dying girls' names that have seen the largest decline. Like a couple of years ago, there were a lot of these babies being born, and now none. All right, among girls' names, the steepest drops include Charlie. Now, this is important. Charlie for a girl. Charlie for a girl is apparently supposed to be spelled Charleigh. So it's like the fancy spelling of Lee with char in front of it. Nope. That fell 421 places. McKinley is down 419 places. Prisha. The hell kind of name is Prisha? Prisha is down 349 places. Ezra is down 348. Sasha is down 331. And this is a surprise because although maybe it's not a surprise because I know probably, there's two. So how many? I don't know if 4 people in my universe have had baby girls in the last 5 years. 2 of them named Mia. Mia is another one. Mia on a big decline. Mia is falling 330 spots. Mia's a pretty name, but I guess maybe there's just too many Mias. Other girls' names that decline notably include Kenna, 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 Corey, Kora, Dior, Shakira. Who's naming their kid Shakira? With my whole life, there was only one Shakira, and now you're telling me that that name became popular? Gabrielle is also declining. Zaylee is declining. Ocean for a girl is Ocean is declining. Here's one that's it's interesting to see that it's declining because I think of this as a traditional name, but the name Allie. Now, this isn't a nickname for Allison or Alyssa or something. No, this is the actual given name Allie, Allie. Gianna is dropping big. Skylar, don't name your kid Skylar. There's too many Skylars too. Skylar is dropping big for girls. And the last one on the list of major droppers for girls' names, Kinley. Kinley is dropping. All right, so there you have it. Those are the girls' names. Again, the biggest ones are Charlie for a girl, McKinley for a girl, Prisha for a girl, Ezra for a girl, Sasha for a girl, and Mia for a girl. Those are the biggest drops in popularity little baby girl names. All right, let's talk about boys. Killian comes in at number 1. Killian, spelled K-Y-L-I-N, posted the sharpest drop among all boys' names in 2025. It fell 512 spots. This is interesting because I would think the popularity of the name Killian might have something to do with Cillian Murphy, the actor, the Irish actor. But he spells it with a C, and most people don't know how to pronounce it properly, so I don't know that that's the influence. Unless they just heard him referred to, I like that actor, Cillian Murphy, and then they just spelt it the way they think it's spelt, the non-Gaelic way, which would be with a K. So Killian is the number 1 name for boys that dropped. And this isn't even, I almost said the traditional spelling of Killian, but what the fuck is the traditional spelling of Killian? This spelling is K-Y. L-I-A-N. Killian posted the sharpest drop for boys, falling 512 spots. It was followed by Atharv, A-T-H-A-R-V. Okay, these can't be American names, right? That's got to be like, all right, continuing. Enoch. Enoch is down 345. How was Enoch as a boy's name ever up? How was that a name that was going up that now we're like, wow, that's really dropping? Enoch? I don't know any Enochs. Boardwalk Empire, right? Nucky Thompson. Enoch Nucky Thompson. Nucky is a nickname for Enoch. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Enoch is on the downslide. What else do we have? Crew. The name Crew for a boy is down 324. Good. That's a stupid name for a boy. Spelt, interestingly enough, although it doesn't have the umlaut, spelt the way Motley Crue spells it, C-R-U-E, not Crew, C-R-E-W, or any of the other possible ways you could spell it. I suppose C-R-O-O. I said, right? If you're an idiot, you could probably spell it any number of ways. But the spelling for Crew for a baby boy name that's in decline is C-R-U-E. You gotta add the umlaut, right? You gotta make it like Motley Crue. You gotta make it that way. You gotta umlaut that bitch. All right, Crew is down 324 points. Huxley for a boy. I hate that. That's a stupid name for a boy. Huxley, that kid's just gonna get pantsed every day of his life. Huxley. You can't name a boy Huxley. Huck. You'd have to call him Huck. That's the only way to say that. Call him Huck. And then, the kid spends his entire life never telling anybody his full name. What's your full name? Huck? No, really. What is it? Nope. All right. Huxley is down for boys as well. Salmon, like Salman Rushdie. That's down. Camillo is down. We also have sharp declines in Emmett. Emmett is down. Garrett is down. Jackson. Jaxton. That is a made-up 2006 trailer trash name. Jackson. The fuck? That's not a name. Dude. You know I'm being honest when I start the conversation out with dude. The name you give your child is the first and most important gift that you will ever give them as a parent. Don't fuck it up. Don't be like, I was watching the Kardashians last night and there was a kid named Huxley. No. You gotta say the full name in your head like a million times. Like, my kid's got a good name. My kid's name is good. It's got a nice beat to it. Like when you say it, like you like to present your kid's name and then go, could I see that name being famous? Yep. Yep, I could. Anyway, Huxley, Emmett, Camillo. What are some of the other ones here? Garrett, Jackson, Kareem, Dax. I'm glad to see Dax falling away. Case. And how about this one? Mohammed. Oh, somebody's gonna get in trouble for that one. The name Muhammad is on the decline. All right, there you have it. Those are the most popular and least popular baby names. Let's go on to the next study that I had today. 2 studies. Many days we don't do any studies, but we've got another study here. This isn't a study. That was a study. This is not a study. This is actually put out every year by Food and Wine. Food and Wine, the Globe's premier magazine for fine dining and food and travel and all of that. Food and Wine magazine for food and wine. All right, Food and Wine. Let's talk about the best cities in America to eat food. They got a list of 10 of them here. Let's do the countdown. Remember, this comes from a conversation. I told you earlier in the show that I had a conversation with somebody who's a Chicago. He's actually a Chicago chef. And he's like, when you travel anywhere else, if you're from Chicago, you're going to be really let down because most places don't have the kind of food here. And I said that there are a number of places in America where a Chicagoan who has been spoiled by just incredible food choices everywhere. There are a couple of places that are, in our league. There are a couple of places that may even be better, but there are places where a Chicagoan can get a good meal. Because the lament of this person was, whenever a Chicagoan travels to, Tucson, they're like, this fucking food sucks. There is nothing good here. And that is a real problem. When you come from a culture, Chicago, that has so much ethnic diversity, that there is so much competition for this kind of food or that kind of food or this kind of food, like it's just everywhere. It's hard to keep up. So let's start this list. The list that I came up with yesterday for places Chicagoans can get a meal and not be upset. I said New York City. New York City is fucking great for food. Washington, D.C., also great for food because it has to be because of, international people and all that. Vegas, man, they ain't fucking around with food in Vegas. They got food. You can have fun in Vegas with food. I said all of California, whether you're going up and down the coast or, even down by the border, you get those great San Diego style fish tacos. I mean, they got great food, all kinds of unique, different cuisines up and down California. Same as Texas. The entire state of Texas, you can drive from corner to corner. And if you stop into the right gas station, as I told you earlier, you will find the best fried chicken you ever fucking had. Melt in your mouth, unbelievably good. So, those are the places that I think of that are really good food places. Notice I didn't mention New Orleans. I don't get it. I don't get New Orleans. New Orleans is a great food city. Maybe if you like burnt shit. Maybe if you like... I went to this place that is famous for sandwiches. I think it's called Mother's or something. I mean, somewhere, and they're like, you gotta go get a po' boy from Mother or whatever it was. And I waited in line and I got this po' boy sandwich and I sit down and I ate it. And I was like, that was so mid. That was just so mid. I don't even know if I like that. What is that? Fish? What am I eating? Fish? All right. So I think New Orleans is overrated as far as food goes. Let's see here. Let's go to the top 10 countdown. These are the 10 best cities as rated by Food and Wine. 10 best cities in America where you can get your food on. Number 10, Philadelphia. It ain't just about cheesesteaks. No, Philadelphia's got all kinds of good ethnic cuisine. Philadelphia. Number 9, let's say hi to Texas. Houston comes in, the number 9 best food city in America. It says the addition of Houston to this list is no surprise to anyone who's experienced the Texas city's vibrant and diverse food scene. Sample Viet Cajun cuisine with crawfish doused in garlicky butter at Crawfish and Noodles. Try handmade corn tortillas and heritage corn tepache. Did I pronounce that right? I don't know, whatever. Houston comes in at number 9, the best food city in America, according to Food and Wine. Number 8. The only surprise here is that it's number 8. I would think that this is a top 3, maybe even a top 4. San Francisco comes in at number 8. Unbelievable food in San Francisco. San Francisco I've been to San Francisco twice. And once I was there for kind of an extended period of time. The other time it was just for like a 3-day weekend. Some of the best dining experiences I've ever had were in San Francisco. I had duck. I don't really eat duck or anything, but I ate this duck thing in this Chinese restaurant in San Francisco that when you walk into the restaurant, the front window has dead animals hanging in the window. It was so disturbing. And then I ate this food and I'm like, this is fucking great. San Francisco is very good. Also really good Italian, San Francisco. San Francisco comes in at number 8, best food city. Number 7 is Miami. Yeah, I mean, I suppose. I've heard good things about Miami. I've only been to Miami Was I there twice? Whatever. Miami, I don't know that I have much experience with the Miami food scene, but okay, I get it. Cuban, and it's a big city, and okay, probably good. Charleston comes in at number 6. Charleston, South Carolina. Restaurants in Charleston could easily just lean on the port city's natural beauty and famously warm hospitality, but diners can expect so much more. I don't care. I'm not going to read their name. They're going to name check a bunch of Charleston restaurants I'll never go to. I don't think we need to waste our time with that. Here we go. Number 5, New Orleans. All right. Again, I think this is programming. I think people are just like, oh, New Orleans food is delicious. You ever been to New Orleans? No, but I can't wait to go. So you've never had it? No. So then how do you know that the food is good? Oh, because everybody knows New Orleans food is delicious. Sorry, Maddie. I hope you're not taking this personally. Maybe one day I'll let you whip up a gumbo that'll try and change my mind, but I don't think so. Everything down there is fishy and burnt. No thanks. New Orleans comes in at number 5. New Orleans is celebrated for its culture, music, and joyful festivals, but the city may be best known for its culinary identity, thanks to the pitch-perfect blend of deeply rooted traditions and bold flavors. Here's the other problem with New Orleans. They're leaning into the French thing because, the French are supposed to be really good cooks. So New Orleans is like, yeah, we like hillbilly French. It's like we making the French food with the hillbilly kind of zing to it. Nah, fuck that. French food is totally overrated. French food sucks. Have you ever gone to a French restaurant? Yeah, if you did, I promise you went through a fucking Burger King drive-thru on your way home because they give you like a pea in like a tiny little cube of chicken and they're like, that'll be $200. I'm like, French food sucks. Get me to an In-N-Out drive-thru right now. Anyway, New Orleans. New Orleans comes in at number 5, the best food city as judged by Food and Wine. Number 4, wow, Texas, let's go. I'd agree with this. I think this, I don't know if it's number 4, but this is a great food city. Austin, Texas. Good. Look at them. Top 5. Better than New Orleans. Yeah, I'd say it's better than New Orleans. I mean, look, first of all, Austin is a city where you can get anything. If you want to go to a really good Italian restaurant, they're going to have really good Italian restaurants in Austin because Austin is an international city. I know it's the heartbeat of, alternative weird Texas, and it's the capital and all that. But because it is the capital of Texas, it's an international city because Texas does business with international things. And so anyway, whenever you have that, it's the same reason Washington, D.C. has so much good food, because when you're constantly being visited by people from elsewhere, you're going to have a pretty good and diverse food scene because restaurants are going to try and cater to those tastes and palates. Austin barbecue. I mean, Pig Eye is the one that I went to most recently that I really liked. But, Franklin's, right? Franklin's is the one that I guess is globally recognized. Just, you can't get bad brisket in Austin. I don't think you can. It's just amazing. It's the brisket tacos at this Pig's Eye place. Wait, is that the name of it? Do I have it right? Anyway, it's in the Texas capital, Austin. You can find a world-class meal at a barbecue truck as easily as a hallowed fine dining institution, or anything in between, as underscored at lauded but unfussy counter service spot Birdie's. And then it names a bunch of places. Names Franklin Barbecue. Very good. All right. Top 5 best food places in America. Number 5 is New Orleans. Number 4 is Austin. Number 3 is Los Angeles, California. Yeah. California is great food. Los Angeles is another one of these international cities. Multiple different ethnic influences and cultural influences. So, if you want something really good to eat that you've never had before, you can probably just walk into any place in Los Angeles and you'll get something that's good. It's not like Cincinnati, where they're going to be like, have you had our chili? And I'm like, that looks like vomit on noodles. I do not want your vomit on noodle chili. Thank you, Cincinnati. Go kick rocks, you fucking weirdos. All right. Los Angeles is good. So again, the top 5, recapping, top 5 best food cities in America. Number 5 is New Orleans. Number 4 is Austin, Texas. Number 3 is Los Angeles, California. And number 2, it's an outrage, Chicago. Chicago, Chicago. We are food snobs here in Chicago. It gets cold, so we like to pack on the food. We like to pack on the weight. I don't know why Chicago's not number one. I've got a feeling I know why Chicago's not number one, but okay. Here's what it says about my hometown and our great food scene. It says, if the bear caused you to pine for a classic Italian beef sandwich, plan a trip to get a taste of the Windy City. 2022's Food and Wine's best new chef, Damar Brown, is behind the refined Southern cuisine at Virtue. Fuck it, I don't care. This is not why Chicago's great. I hate it when they talk about the Chicago food scene, and it's always about Chicago has more Michelin-starred restaurants than any city in America. None of us are going to spend $500 on a fucking cube of chicken. All right? We don't go to 5-star Michelin restaurants, okay? We go for pasta, we go for chicken, we go for beef, we go for food that people eat. Pizza. So whenever they talk about the Chicago food scene, and I guess that's important, and I guess that's what gives the food scene credibility. Because if we were just a bunch of hot dog and pizza people, then it'd be like, they don't deserve any credit. So I guess we need the fancy places that I will never go to, don't even want to go to. Ugh. All right, what's it say here? Virtue in Hyde Park has a few suggestions for places to eat, including blah, 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 blah. I don't see anything. Fuck it. Oh, here we go. For the sandwich crowd, his pick in Chicago is Al's #1 Italian beef. It's a very hotly contested argument here in the city, who's got the best beef. But I'll tell you, if you're having an argument about who's got the best beef and you're not considering Al's, you're wrong, because Al's is definitely one of the best. This famous chef says, if you'd like to try the chocolate cake from the hit FX show, head to Loaf Lounge, home of the original dense 3-layer dessert. What, on the Bear, did they make some chocolate cake? And now apparently the chocolate cake is an actual cake that is served at some place. I don't care. #1 is New York. We all knew it was going to be New York. New York is the #1 food city in America, according to Food and Wine. #1 is New York. #2 is Chicago. #3 is Los Angeles. #4 is Austin, Texas. And #5, New Orleans. There you go. That's all of it. There you go. All right, some sports news here. Some quick sports news. Tony Dungy is out at Sunday Night Football. Tony Dungy, 17 years he's been on Sunday Night Football. I guess I didn't realize that he'd been on it for that long. Tony Dungy, former coach. Tony Dungy, former player. Tony Dungy out, gone from Sunday Night Football. They also think the Rodney Harrison might be gone. Here's the thing. Jack Collinsworth, who's the third man, they're gone. They're saying the whole thing is going to be gone. They're going to redo their presentation of Sunday Night Football. The first, what do they call it? The first shoe to drop, I guess. The first shoe to drop is Tony Dungy. He was let go, fired from Sunday Night Football. And once again, expect Rodney Harrison to be let go, as well as Jack Collinsworth. The only person that is apparently safe, and I heard a very in-depth conversation about this morning, the only person who appears to be safe is Mike Florio, who is sort of like the Jay Glazer of that thing. So there you go. Tony Dungy reminds me of this. Oh, here you go. Oh, this. Okay, so this was another thing that was being openly speculated about this morning. I was driving in here to the studio, and I was listening to Sports Talk. I don't even know where I heard this. This was a national show I was listening to. Was this Get Up? It may have been from Get Up this morning, which is the ESPN show. So there is speculation that the Max Crosby deal that fell apart between the Las Vegas Raiders and the Baltimore Ravens was, basically killed by the Ravens because the Ravens doctor did not feel comfortable with clearing Max Crosby to play, which is weird because there's not a person on the planet that would have cleared Max Crosby to play. He was just on crutches last week. He had surgery like 3 weeks ago. So everybody knew. I mean, it was understood that when the Ravens made this deal for Max Crosby, the Ravens knew that he was in the middle of his recovery and that he could never be cleared to play physically by a doctor right now. But okay, so that's what they found. The Baltimore Ravens discovered that they didn't want Max Crosby after all. Here's what I think. I think they got cold feet, and I think they just went and bought Trey Hendrickson instead. They went, instead of giving up two number ones, we can just pay. We can just move some salaries around. It's a salary cap game at this point. We can pay and not give up any draft picks, and maybe we don't lose all that much production. Although I think Max Crosby is a much more desirable person to have than Trey Hendrickson, but at what cost? So that's kind of what a lot of people are starting to think that Baltimore did. They got cold feet. They realized over the weekend, and apparently the team that was in second place for the services of Max Crosby was the Dallas Cowboys. Apparently the Dallas Cowboys team doctor and the Baltimore Ravens team doctor are like best friends. They're like really close. And the Dallas Cowboys team doctor apparently consulted with the Raiders team doctor on the surgery that Max Crosby had a couple of weeks ago. And it is now being openly speculated that the Dallas Cowboys doctor put it in the Ravens doctor that he wouldn't clear Max Crosby to play. And so the thought here is, did the Ravens doctor take the advice of the Cowboys doctor, who were second to the Ravens in trying to acquire the services of Max Crosby, which caused the Ravens to say, we no longer want Max Crosby, which now puts the Cowboys back in play for Max Crosby? Like, did the Cowboys team doctor do this? Like, if Max Crosby ends up on the Cowboys, I think you got to thank the Cowboys team doctor for, now watch the Cowboys team doctor actually not clear him. But no, I think that he was just, anyway, I thought that was interesting. Football, very funny. World Baseball Classic happened yesterday. I told you it was a big game. We all needed to watch it. It was a game between Team Italy and Team Mexico. Pool B teams, Team Mexico and Team USA. We were supposed to be the cream of the crop there in Pool B play. Italy was nothing more than a bunch of stupid Italian kids. What do they know about baseball, right? Italy, well, it turns out Italy is essentially just a team comprised of Major League Baseball players who just weren't seen as good enough to make Team USA. Yeah, the rules about how you play for a team in the World Baseball Classic, I need to really look at them. They don't seem very difficult. For instance, Kyle Teal, who is the catcher for my Chicago White Sox, he's one of the stars of Team Italy. He got hurt. That sucks. Going to be out a month. He's going to miss the first month of the season. But he ain't Italian. Like, Kyle Teal ain't Italian. Kyle Teal is a blonde American who's like, hey, dudes, what's up? I mean, he's not Italian. But apparently his mother was born there, or his grandma or something. So that was good enough for Team Italy. And they're like, you're our starting catcher. Sam Antonacci is another one. Sam Antonacci is a White Sox second baseman. He's on Team Italy. And, the name Antonacci, they probably called him up and went, there's got to be somebody close in your family who was born here, right? Because that's apparently all it takes. As it turns out, Team Italy is good. Team Italy is made up of a bunch of young American Major League Baseball players who maybe aren't household names because they're only 22 and 23 years old. And they've, some of them like Kyle Teal or Sam Antonacci have just matriculated their way through the minors and are making their big league debuts. That's not the case for Teal, but it is the case for Antonacci. And the other baseball teams just never saw these guys coming. The idea is that it's Italy, that it's a bunch of guys who grew up in, Sicily, who are like out there trying to play at a baseball. No, these are all major. Essentially, when Italy beat the United States, what I thought was really interesting was some baseball guy tweeted this. I don't know who it was. It wasn't Benetti, and it wasn't Joe Buck, but it was tweeted out that the United States team, Team USA, losing to Team Italy was essentially the junior varsity beating the varsity. Because it was all of the guys on Team USA are big name superstars with huge, massive contracts. Meanwhile, every other team with maybe the exception of Czechia, but every other team is comprised of Major League Baseball players. I mean, teams like in Japan and in Korea, they have fairly formidable leagues of their own. So their teams have a little bit more of like, an imbalance. Like, I don't think there's any American Major League Baseball players with the exception of Ohtani and Seiya Suzuki. And now Mooney is on the White Sox. So Team Japan's got 3 guys, but really they can fill out the rest of their roster with real quality professional baseball players who aren't necessarily in the major league. They play in the Nippon League. Same can be said for Korea, the Korean League players. But when you get to like Great Britain is nothing but like, again, minor league baseball players. Australia is all minor league or lesser known major league level professional baseball players. So the level of competition is really good. And the game yesterday between Italy and Mexico was important to us, Team USA, because we needed Italy to win because we would have been eliminated. The United States being eliminated from moving out of pool play into semifinal play would have been one of the greatest humiliations in American international baseball history, because Team USA is a dream team. Team USA is Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. That's what this team is. It's incredible. And the fact that Italy jumped out to an 8-0 lead on them was really humiliating. And then add to that the fact that after Italy won that game, Italy would then move on to play Mexico. And there was a good chance, because only 2 teams in pool play move on, the 2 top teams, there was a good chance that the United States team was not going to make it out of pool play. I thought Mexico was going to beat Italy. I thought Mexico's a great team. Mexico's filled with a bunch of Major League Baseball stars who are actually Mexicans. So, I mean, that team is really good. They're having a rough tournament because they lost to Italy, shockingly. America moves through. Yay! America moves on. We survived. We are now going to move on to the next round. It'll be Italy who won the pool. Isn't that weird? Like, we didn't even get out of regionals in first place. We lost to Italy. Like, Italy is like the team from the Pool B, from the Houston teams, the teams that have been playing down there in Houston, that comes out the champion. So, okay, whatever. But clean slate. Maybe Team America, Team USA can get their shit together. Oh, another thing that I noticed about this World Baseball Classic, and this kind of plays into something I mentioned a little bit ago. Remember I was talking about Brazil? How everybody in South and Central America and Mexico, they all speak Spanish except for Brazil. Like, Brazil is like, no, we're Portuguese here. And for some reason, that was a decision they made. And I don't know why. They have linguistically cut themselves off from all of their neighbors. They're the ones who speak a different language than everybody else. It got me thinking, because I'm watching the World Baseball Classic and I'm seeing all these players and they're all intermingling and they're all having fun together. And I'm seeing, the Dominican talking to the guys from Mexico and the guys from, Belize talking. I don't even know if there's a team from Belize, but you get what I'm saying. And it dawned on me, the United States and Canada, we're the weirdos. We're the weirdos in the Americas. We're the ones that aren't down with the language. Everybody else in the Americans speaks Spanish except for us in Canada. And then you got weird ass Brazil who's doing Portuguese for some reason. I had never thought about it that way. I'm like, the people from Central America who are playing baseball for the DR, or the people who are playing for Venezuela, it's another team that's down there that's good. They can all speak to each other. They, like, Mexico can have a normal conversation with the people from Venezuela. The ones who are out is America, because, all we can talk to is Canada. Oh, and by the way, United States versus Team Canada tomorrow. How very exciting. Let me show you one play, though. I thought this was cool. I wanted to share this with you because, man, Johnny Baseball, let me tell you, I love good baseball. And one of the things that I love about baseball, and especially since, I'm a catcher fetishist. I love catchers. Catchers are always the most crafty. Second baseman and shortstops are crafty too, as we'll see. But catchers, catchers are always looking for the angle. Baseball is truly a sport where if you're not cheating, you're not trying. I put baseball my whole life. That is true. If you are not cheating at least a little bit in baseball, you ain't really trying, because that's kind of woven into the rules of baseball. And you're to try and get away. You're trying to deceive people. You try and dupe them. I want to show you this play last night. This was just amazing baseball IQ. Somebody who understands the game and is maybe not the greatest player, but he's going to use his wiles and his craftiness to sort of make up for whatever. This is Sam Antonacci. This is he just so happens to be a White Sox second baseman. Actually, he's not even going to break camp with the team. He's going to go back down to the minors. But, he's a future star. He's like one of our future guys that we really like. This is one of the smartest baseball plays, and it's one of those fun baseball plays, because if you're paying attention to everything, and maybe you're a base runner and the base runner isn't paying attention to everything, you can fuck with people's heads. Sam Antonacci here. Check this out. This was a very quick play, and we'll play it a couple of times in case you miss it, because the camera didn't really get it to its full extent. The camera only shows it a little bit. But here, I want to show you this play. I love crazy baseball plays. All right. So this is Italy versus Mexico. Mexico is at the plate. Again, we're going to be focusing in on Sam Antonacci, who is playing second base here. Watch this play.
Goes. Good jump. Out to center. And not stopping, heading to third, and forgetting how many outs there were, or maybe getting deked, is Ortiz.
A terrific decoy by the middle infield.
One more time, because I bet you didn't see what happened. It was they totally fucked with the base runner. The base runner wasn't watching the ball.
To center. And not stopping, heading to third, and forgetting how many outs there were, or maybe getting deked.
He got deked. And there's Sammy.
Is Ortiz.
A terrific decoy by the middle infield.
Yeah, terrific decoy. So I don't know if you saw what happened. All right, so the ball was popped straight up into the air. The ball was out of the infield. It was carrying to center field. It was a pop fly. Sam Antonacci, seeing the base runner, knowing that the base runner was coming towards him, Sam Antonacci dives, Craig Nettles style, dives, suggesting to the base runner that it was a ground ball that was hit through the gap. So the base runner thought it was a ground ball and kept going to third base. Of course, it wasn't a ground ball. It was a pop-up, and they doubled him up. That is crafty baseball. Watch it again. Right here at the very beginning is the only way that we see it.
Goes. Good jump.
All right, there. See, Sam? All right, he just dove. We missed it. But this is the base runner. The base runner saw him dive, and he thought the ball got through him, and he kept going. I love smart baseball. All right, this is why we have 20 listeners.
Good jump.
There he is. All right, I love it. Crafty baseball. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Sammy Antonacci. I'm telling you, you're going to know this kid's name. This kid is a good player. He may not come up until like maybe July or something, but he'll be up. All right, Adam's always got to argue. Yes, there are moving parts here. I don't know. It is absolutely not more on the third base coach unless the runner is lobotomized. It is on the runner. But yes, it is also the job of the third base coach to be waving his arms, to be telling him what's going on. But no, Adam, I'm sorry. It's not more on the base coach. Jeez. He just likes to argue with me, which is why I love him. He gets my endorphins going. All right, let's see. Do we have anything else? We might be done. Oh, do I want to do? No, I don't want to do that. There was some video that's a little bit. It's too heavy, and we were just having baseball fun. So, guys, that's gonna do it. That's gonna do it for today's show. Look at that. I gave you 3.5 hours. I love you guys so much. This is, you are my therapy. This is how I get through life. Life ain't great right now, but we'll get into that later. When it's time to talk, we'll talk. We'll talk. Today's show is brought to us by Peter the Great. Peter, thank you so much for helping out, keeping this show going. I saw that there was a movement in the chat room. I didn't mention it because I don't want to look at anything, but thank you. I know that we got some tips today because I saw what was going on in the chat room, and you guys, I'm going to cry. You guys are great. All right, I love you. Thank you so much. If you want to get in on that, we are, at least before I checked, we were 150 short. So, and again, not trying to steal anything, but 150 is the exact amount of money that we need, right? That means I got nothing. I mean, so, when I say we need 150, how about 170 so that I can have like $20 in my pocket? How about that? How about I don't do the show for free? We'll be back tomorrow. Big Friday show, big weekend. Can I share something with you? All right, I'll share this with you. So I got this, I've been telling you about it. I got this big party. My buddy, my big media friend buddy is having this big St. Patrick's Day party tomorrow afternoon at his house, a beautiful house, and all these fancy Chicago celebrities and, whatever, poor people, right? Sports people, athletes stopping by. It's going to be fun. And he's one of my buddies. And he asked me a couple of weeks ago, he said, hey, I need some help. Do you know how? Could you find me a leprechaun that I can hire to show up for this party? I want a leprechaun. I'm like, you want a leprechaun? He's like, yeah, there can be kids there and stuff. So I busted my ass trying to get a leprechaun. My hope was, I wanted to hire an actor or a comedian who would go out and rent, because they're paying good money. This is good leprechaun dollars. This is like really good for leprechauning. So I wanted to find like an actor, a local actor, or a comic or something, somebody who could like really be like, yeah. And then they would rent the suit and then they would make a lot of money. But that didn't work out because I couldn't reserve one. It just got too late in the game and I panicked. So I called like one of those birthday clown places. These places exist. And I was like, look, I need a leprechaun for a party. Do you do this? And they're like, we sure do. We got leprechauns. And so I got a leprechaun. Leprechaun is coming, which is good. However, here's my problem. And I haven't told the host this yet. And I don't know if this is a problem or not. Like, I don't know if it's better or worse. But when you say to me, can you find someone to portray a leprechaun at the party? Can't be a midget. That was like the number one rule. Can't be a midget. Because again, he's high profile media guy. He doesn't want to be exploiting a little person at his party for laughs. And I get that. I'm like, all right, no midgets. None. But when you say that, what are you thinking? You're thinking about a human being wearing a green suit or maybe a red beard, right? A human being and a top hat and, I got my pot of gold, that is what you're thinking when you say, I need a leprechaun. I couldn't find that though. Like I told you, I tried to go get an actor and all that. I couldn't find that. It turns out that the leprechaun that I hired is from this birthday party thing. They have magicians and they have Power Rangers, whatever you want for your birthday party. You want the Power Rangers to show up, they'll send the Power Rangers. So they do a leprechaun. And it turns out that their leprechaun is more like a big suit mascot leprechaun. You know what I mean? Like if you go to Six Flags or Disney, or it's Mickey with the big hat, it's a dude in a suit and he can have the leprechaun. I'm worried that's not going to play. I'm worried it's going to, I didn't want one of those kind of leprechauns. I wanted a person. Do you understand my dilemma here? I mean, these are two very different representations of a leprechaun. There is one expectation that it would just be a dude dressed up in a little green suit going, hey, you won't be getting me pot of gold. There's that. But then there's this other representation, which is like, it's going to be like a 7-foot dude in a giant fucking suit. And I don't know if that's going to go over. Or it's going to be better. It's going to be better. They're going to be like, wow, that's even better. I don't know. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Like my buddy, I don't want my buddy going, what the fuck is this? Right? Like, what do you mean? It's a leprechaun. You told me it couldn't be small. Well, I didn't want like a 7-foot giant suit leprechaun scaring the kids. Or will the kids like that better? Like, would it be better? Because there's going to be a bunch of kids there and the leprechaun's going to be doing leprechaun stuff. So would the kids rather see just like an out-of-work actor wearing a green suit with a dyed red beard going, me like your charms? Do kids want that? Or are the kids going to like the giant helmet leprechaun guy who's like, probably doesn't talk, If he does, he talks through here, right? Isn't that where? Because those suits are always like 7 foot tall, but the guy inside it is always like 5'9", so they got to talk out of the, I don't know, whatever. These are the things that I concern myself with. And if you knew what was really going on in my life, you'd be like, really, Pugs? That's what you're that's what you're distracting yourself with? Well, you need to distract yourself with something. So leprechaun dilemmas. That's how I'm getting through. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you all so much. Help out the show if you can. We'll go through all of this and we'll see what the total is tomorrow. And hopefully we can get there. And maybe we did. Maybe we did because of you guys today. So I really do appreciate that. Thank you. All right. We'll see ya back tomorrow at noon. Bye.